can they keep going like this? Like, it's amazing, lads. Like, I can't believe it.
No, they won't be finishing top 2, no chance. No.
They're not finishing top 2, but top 4 now. Like, top 4, that's a conversation now. I mean,
it would be a bottle job, wouldn't it, if they don't make top 4 now?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's a bottle job.
Who's their competition?
Well, loads. There's fucking Newcastle, Spurs, Arsenal, even Chelsea might have a fucking...
I'm not having Arsenal brought into that conversation.
What do you mean, conversation?
Top 4. We're title champions.
Do you know what? I think they're all sort of in the same-ish bracket. If Villa are second, you can't say anyone's that far out first, you know what I'm saying?
Like, you said, it weren't long ago we were saying that it would be a bottle job for Spurs to finish in the top 4. And now, how the land lies at the minute, we're looking at that going, okay, it might happen, it might not. So I don't think they'll be bottling it because there's going to be context behind it. If they go deep, which, let's be honest, every single one of us sat around this table surely thinks they're winning that Europa Conference League. The bookies definitely think they are. So if they go deep in that as well...
I just don't think we should underestimate Aston Villa because it's like when you watch them as a team, they're actually a good team.
Yeah,
they're very organised. They've got good players, and then even Arsenal. If you look at it last season, no one expected Arsenal to go from 5th the season before to challenging for the title. So we shouldn't now just write off Villa from potentially being in that conversation.
Villa have actually got depth as well. That's the thing. Like, that's the thing with Villa. Like when we look at, so we were a lot of people are now making the comparison to Leicester. Yeah, and Villa are actually better off points wise than Leicester were in that season when they won the league at this moment in time. But when you look at the depth for, say, like for Leicester, a couple of players that were outperforming coming on. Villa's bench the other day, I looked at it. They had Diaby, the new boy, on there. Tielemans on there. They had probably like 5 names that would make it into Chelsea's side on their bench. You know what I mean?
Do you know what, mate? I've literally just looked at the Man United team that's playing today, and I don't want to get into Man United slander too early. I don't think there's many Man United players that are playing against Liverpool today that would get into the Aston Villa team that are just one of them. Seriously.
How mad would it be if, of everyone, to deny Arsenal their Premier League title? Unai Emery.
This is a Hurricane.
Like, I'm just suggesting it's possible.
That's the question. The question on the table. Like, should they? I know they've done one with Arteta, but should they possibly have kept Emery? Like, he's a
Alisson,
actual elite
Kimmich,
manager.
spit my face. Spit my face.
Could Emery not have done as well? Or
Could cross the screener for them.
Could Arteta do that with Villa? That's the real one.
Do you know what? I think I don't want to sound patronising. Villa is the right level for Unai Emery. Unai Emery, he's a Europa League manager. He's the king of the Europa League. He's the best Europa League man in Europe. He's won it more times than what you're hiring.
But are you gonna say Arteta is a better manager than Unai Emery? After everything Unai Emery
Eusébio.
Sorry, what's Unai Emery won?
Europa League.
How could
and Arteta's won an FA Cup. What's harder to win?
I'd say an FA Cup's a bigger trophy than the Europa League. Would you not? Would you not say the FA Cup's a bigger trophy than the Europa League?
No way.
You could make an argument that the standard of teams in the FA Cup in terms of the best team in the FA Cup is higher than the Europa League because they literally Man City would not be in the Europa League.
You have to beat champions.
No, it only gets harder in the FA Cup when you literally get to the quarters or semis. I think in Europa League,
87, goddamn.
It's difficult. It's not.
I'm not saying it's not difficult. Don't get me wrong. Arteta's failed to win the Europa League on 2 occasions. I think the FA Cup's a bigger and better trophy than the Europa League.
Nah, it's not, man. Because I think the Europa League's harder to win, and the fact that it's more harder to win makes it a bit more. There's that aura around it because it's harder to win.
It's not even just the FA Cup that makes me think that Arteta is a better manager than Emery. I mean, first of all, it's the football that both teams will do. You know, both managers play. It's also the fact that I don't think we've seen Emery really mount a title challenge with any team. He went to PSG, obviously didn't do very well. Any other teams he mounted a title challenge. Bear in mind, last season Arsenal came off a season where they finished 5th the season before, and then unexpectedly mounted a title challenge against Manchester City, and they're doing it again this year.
Emery was the one going to challenge Sevilla or Villarreal for the Liga title. No chance. That's a bit
That's where Arsenal were a year ago. That's where
Arsenal as a club is expected to be in those conversations. You've been poor for the last 10, 15 years.
And it's not just he's won the Europa League once. He's won it 4 times, and he got the final with Arsenal. Like he's been in the final 5 times in the Europa League. That is.
And I swear you went on an unbeaten, like 24-game unbeaten run under United.
If I was to make the argument for
finish 5th,
if we were going to try and say this was a mistake, you could then look. Without context, you could just say, how long has Arteta been building this Arsenal team? How much money has he spent on it? And how compared to Emery, who took over not long ago, and yet this season he's partly derailed them by beating them in that game, but also he's 1 point behind them in the league. is staggering what he's achieving with a
Hit
team
my
that was struggling
face.
a year ago.
Yeah, they went head to head. He done a number on Arteta.
I'm
A
gonna
week
give you
ago,
two.
they're head
It's
to
about
head.
the sentiment
I
around
don't know if he's done
most.
a number. We had a lot of chances in that game, and that was a tight game. Look, I don't want to take his flowers away, Emery. He's a good manager. And
You said he's an Aston Villa standard manager. They are lucky to have. Trust me, Aston Villa appoint Dean Smith. They appoint Steven Gerrard. They appoint.
All right. Ultimate test.
Steve Bruce is been manager 5 years
We're
ago.
not allowed to say his name at this table.
Ultimate test. Would you sack Ange for Emery?
No, have you seen the football we're playing?
You're behind.
No way.
You're behind him in
I
the
don't
league.
care.
Would you sack your manager? Would you sack Eddie Howe for Emery?
No.
No. So there you go.
I would have said Ange for Arteta.
Don't come on to ask me, mate.
Kulbalay.
No, ask him.
Everyone loves
I'd sack my manager
It's
for
a
tonight.
good one.
I like Poch.
But I will say, with Emery,
Tennessee,
Newcastle did try to get Emery before we got Eddie Howe.
Yeah,
They got
He was on
Thiago
one
Rejected
Silva.
us. Look, let's say the favourites for top four would have been Arsenal, Liverpool, City. So and let's suggest that there isn't a fifth place Champions League spot because of how fit the failures of Man United, Newcastle. The remaining teams would be Villa, Spurs, Newcastle, maybe West Ham, Man
Shit,
United.
I don't know. I
Out
just
of
know
those
the
five,
skets.
Villa are the
It's
favourites,
to
right?
be.
Right now, yeah.
You can write off
Jordi
West Ham
Alba?
Man United straight away.
No me acuerdo.
Neither are ever going to be
Which
there.
leaves-
I mean, the only chance is possibly if something happens for a takeover with Man United, or if Ten Hag gets sacked, someone
Who the
else.
fuck is us in there? Christensen?
Those two aren't going to be there. West Ham, if you're going on their form,
Warhammer
they're going to go
around,
deep in
for
Europe
sure.
again. So realistically, you're looking
Yeah,
at that
it's
spot and
gonna
you're
give
going,
me, bro.
it's really at Spurs, Villa, and Newcastle.
Hey, West Ham, exactly. See West Ham. The fact that they've even been mentioned at this table to me is hilarious.
That's rattled you.
It's hilarious.
I mean, they're seventh on 27 points. They are having a
So, if Piquet gets injured, they're done. Done. Finished. Bowen gets injured. Finished. What are they going to do? They've got no depth. Like you said, they're going deeper into a competition. Everyone's getting injuries because, like we spoke about, this added injury time at the end of matches,
Ridiculous.
end of halves. West Ham have no depth. They ain't going to be top four.
I think I battered 5-0 by Fulham like last week.
Yeah.
Brian, think about it that list.
Okay, so we're saying Spurs, Newcastle, and Villa for the final Champions League spot. You would have thought.
Newcastle are favourites. I think they're favourites. I think when you look at the pedigree of that team, I think you look at the fact they got into the Champions League last season already. I think they probably. I'd love to see what the bookies make of it. I suspect Newcastle probably is still favourites.
We're bottom of the league in that sense. Out of the three of them, we're actually furthest behind.
You also done well in a weird way,
Royce,
to go out of the
Eriksen,
Champions League.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, it's what everyone else has said. You lot want to be fucking that big spot.
Ramangoli.
You've gone out of the Champions League group bottom, which is obviously going to serve you a little bit better with your injuries and stuff like that. As it goes forward, rather than go into Europa League. So I would say Newcastle with what they've done, but then it's nip and tuck between them two. And then the irony is,
They do like one of the bro ones.
9 points we've got to make up.
They just beat City, Arsenal, and then turned it around away against Brentford and Villa. You've got to give them some respect.
And Spurs are 6 points. Spurs are 5 points.
83. She's 83 now.
I would say Spurs, yeah. I'll back my boys, yeah. But we're losing Son. Basuma's suspended now, and he's going to see until February, and we're losing Sarr as well. These players are just too key for us in January.
So if Villa don't get it, they are bottoming it.
I think so. Yeah. If we weren't losing those players, I would say we're getting top four with no Europe. I'd say we're getting
Why
top
would you
four.
write us out of it? Why would you?
I'm not writing us out of it. I'm just saying that
Spaghetti Mafia.
9 points is massive.
Yeah,
catch up.
it's a big-
It's a
9
big amount of
points is
Like,
massive.
when I'm looking at Villa in the
And
consistency
you can't
they
lose
show,
anymore.
the way they performed against Arsenal, mentally such a strong team. I'm like, you guys don't look like you're going to throw away a 9-point lead.
Even today, 1-0 down with what, 15, 20 minutes of the game to go, and then coming back and winning today, like they're doing the things, they're passing those tests that for a team to finish in those Champions League spots need to be passing these tests, and that's what Villa are doing at the
For
minute.
sure, but I would agree on Joey with Newcastle. We don't have any European football
Taguilo.
anymore. I mean, our players are coming back. Yeah, thanks, man. Our players are coming back. It's really like, I think we're going to have a strong second half of the season. Like, don't get me wrong, I was devastated to finish bottom of the Champions League group, which, by the way, is the most unjustified fourth place finish for any team in the Champions League of all time. Should have got second. We got fucked at PSG, but like, I think we did for sure.
No, I feel you, man.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely.
I'm still devastated.
Crying inside.
Joe, I was probably up there with the relegation, like in terms of how fucking devastating it was. Like coming out of that ground was fucking miserable. Still kind of am, but no. As I was saying, I think we're gonna get our players back. Harvey Barnes coming back. We won't have to play children in the middle of the pitch anymore. I think we're going to have a strong second half season.
I agree. I think we are going to come back. I just don't know if they're going think we're asking.
They will, man. They'll lose 3 games.
I'll tell you
More than
what,
that.
as someone who's lived through it, that is what Emery teams do. That is what Emery teams do. Strong start, fall apart. As you said, what was it like 20 games we were unbeaten? Arsenal start of his first season. We finished 5th that season.
Yeah, but here's the problem. They might drop those points. 9 points into the gap. They might drop those points, but that means you
No me
can't drop
acuerdo
more
todo el
points.
mundo que estaba ahí.
That's what it means. It doesn't mean that.
Oh, Gavi was
They'll
in
lose
there
more
too.
than 30 games. That's my point. They'll lose
Asensio
more. How many
también.
goals they
The
got?
one thing we did plan for them
Giles.
is we've got to play them again, and we did batter them at the start of the season. So
Was it
you know,
Power? I don't know,
maybe
bro.
we're
I
a
got
bad
most of
team
these.
stylistically for them to play. I just worry. I mean, we've got to win that game.
I just think on paper we were fully strength squad. We're better than Aston Villa. We proved that 5-1. Like the only reason we dropped so many points is because we had to play Lewis Miley. God bless him, he's a little kid doing great. But like the likes of him in the team, he should be nowhere near our starting 11.
I don't know, man. Mate,
No, listen. Don't get me wrong. He's been class. He's been really, really good. But we should have had Tonali in there.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at how well coached they are this season. Like they've gone to another level this season.
So true.
When I watched them against City, I've never seen a team humble Man City the way they did in that game. Arsenal, they frustrated Arsenal. You lot created chances, but you just never really felt like the goal was coming for some reason. Aston Villa did look quite in control.
Defensively, they're so clever.
And their record at Villa Park, I mean, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. No one in the league has a record at home like them this season.
Apart from Newcastle, who have got 7 wins in a row, St James is on.
There you go.
Actually, you do have a
Yeah,
good
so
record.
it may come down to us two if Spurs do something with it.
Do you not think we're a better team than we are? Surely.
I feel like there's a conspiracy going on
Tokaji.
in Newcastle right now because of the fact that in the first half yesterday we had 2 players go off injured, Shaw and Joe Linton. I'm literally tweeting like there's a fucking conspiracy here. Like, what's going on with the back room? What's going on with the medical stuff? Are we training them too hard? We might have hit a record for number of injuries sustained by this point in the season. Like, it must be. And I think
86s.
part of it's down to the playing style.
What the fuck?
The Champions League football.
Puta, no
and
tengo
type of
ninguno,
that.
bro.
How come we're suffering so much worse than everyone else? Something's wrong.
Yeah.
In my
We gotta go out and spend it, Johnny, for sure. Get at least 3 or 4 through the
I
right.
heard con Odegaard, bro.
You
Odegaard's
up against
super
financial fair play. I don't think you can
We
spend.
haven't made enough
How
money as a
Madrid?
club
No,
yet
dude,
because we
it's not
haven't
the
signed
Madrid.
the Adidas deal for next season and all that.
So you saying we can't spend any money, John?
I think it's loan. So
Modric
remember
simple
the
loan.
Lewis Hall situation?
Yeah.
So we took Lewis Hall from Chelsea, 20-odd million, 30 million, to be paid later. But anyhow, clearly, for me, has had a change of mind on him and thought, you're a good player, but you're not worth that money.
Yeah.
So they've stopped playing him so that we don't trigger the signing clause. So I think he's holding money back, and we'll see Newcastle sign someone, mainly Calvin Phillips, or someone like that. I'm not really keen on signing a player who's haven't sitting on the bench, but we will sign someone with a view to buy him later. But I don't think we've got the ability to spend. This whole thing about Newcastle being so rich is it doesn't matter.
Bring in Ruben Neves. All right, they voted on that deal. Get low players in. Bring him in from Saudi.
Bring Ronaldo, Kante, Neves, all of them.
I will say this though, if all 3 of those teams have their first 11 fit, you guys have all your teams Villa, I'm backing Spurs all the way, I don't care. We're disrupting top 3 if we have our first 11.
What's this?
If we had our 11, if we had Van de Ven, still Manderson like how he was at the beginning of the season, we're disrupting top 3.
Richarlison up front, yeah?
He wouldn't be up front, someone was up front.
Oh, he was, yeah.
I think that's how I feel, to be fair. I feel like our injuries have
We
killed.
were better than Liverpool.
Who was the wingers? Who else was on the Brennan Johnson? What is that?
Kulusevski, Richarlison was on the left, but they rotated it with Brennan Johnson, Son through the middle. Madison and Van de Ven are the key injuries for us.
The difference is, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, like, you were playing amazing football, right? Respect that. But last season we got top 4, and I feel like the edge would have been with us, given that we've been there and done it, if the injuries weren't the fact that they are, and they're terrible, and I can't see them stopping for some reason.
Newcastle have been the most incredible team in the Premier League over the last 18 months, I think. In terms of what we've achieved, I could be here all day. We smashed Spurs 6-1, 5-0 up after 20 minutes, 8-0 at Sheffield United, beat Man United twice already this season.
What away record
talking about
is
last
terrible
season.
this season, though, isn't it?
Talking about last season.
I said 80 points.
Also, you've lost games as well.
Our away record this season.
That doesn't fill my eye.
Let's be honest, though. Like, I'm a Newcastle fan. Our away record has been poor this season.
Yeah, very
We really need to fucking sort it out. All right, let's just quickly go around the table and round up. Prediction for who gets that 4th spot out of Villa, Spurs, Newcastle. Start with you, Joey.
I don't know if I even want to say Villa because the way things are going, I think they might be higher than 4th. But if I've got to pick one of those teams, yeah, I'm going to have to go Villa at the minute.
Here's the thing, if we were still in the Europa League, if we finished 3rd and we're in the Europa League, I would say probably Villa or Spurs, but nah, man, I think with no European football, the fresh squad players coming back, yeah, I'm going back to Newcastle with this one.
I'm going with Spurs. I'm going with my boys. I'm going back the Lillywires. I think we can do it. I believe in Ange Ball.
about to say Newcastle. You know, it's interesting having that conversation about, you're saying if your players are fit, you finish there. I think you can kind of make that argument for each of those teams.
No, you can.
Do you know what I mean?
You can.
They're really even, man. There are players from Newcastle that get into each of those teams.
Yeah.
Like Madison would get into all of those teams. There are Villa players.
Out of those three teams, who is world-class? What player? Who has a world-class player out of those three teams?
Guimaraes is
He's not
world-class.
world. No, he's not
Guimaraes is
world-class. World-class.
Guimaraes is world-class.
I mean, the only player out of those three, all of them, is Son. He's the only one that is hands down world-class, in my opinion.
Still, Son of last season was nowhere near world class. He's in his
Yeah, but that
30s.
was last season. He's got 10 goals, 11 goals in the league.
He is playing world class this season. That's a fact.
He's just I'm saying, in world football, how many teams do not take Son on the left? Who doesn't take Son? How many players on the left get in before Son?
Well, a minute ago you said he was up front. So which is it? Is he a striker?
When they're rotating him, he rotates him forward.
I think he's a striker nowadays. I think where his legs have gone a little bit.
He left for the last two games and we just won them.
Yeah.
No player who's...
That's why he's world class.
I'm going to play up on under pressure. We've got other things to talk about. Jacob,
Newcastle. I say Newcastle. I do think. Do you think that makes the call for me is the fact you're not in Europe? I think that's what makes it different.
I hope you're right. Okay.
What about you?
I'm going to back Newcastle.
Okay.
But Villa are favourites as choice.
Yeah, they are
favourites. We'll talk about the team sheets for today. I don't think any Manchester United fan I've heard has displayed any sort of confidence. Alisson in goal, Trent, Canate, Van Dijk, and Chamiskas at fullback, Szoboszlai, Endo, and Gravenberch, with Salah, Nunes, and Diaz up front. Interesting to see Darwin get a start today. They really are confident.
Nunes.
Garnacho, Højlund, Anthony front three, with Amrabat, McTominay, Maino in the middle. Shaw, Varane, Evans, Dalot, and Onana at the back. To be fair, for all Manchester United fans have been saying, how they've lost players and whatever, I mean, it's the same level of starting 11 that I've been saying from them a lot of the season. It's like, alright, an injury here and there, like every team has with these extra minutes that we're playing at the end of every game. I don't think this is like that far off the strongest 11.
Well, it's horrendous. Let's all be really honest. That's a horrendous team, but it's also an expensive team.
Yeah.
That's the maddest thing about the way that club is run. You go through that team. You were listening off the names. I was like, this sounds like a Carabao Cup team. What are you talking about? This is going to Anfield.
165 million alone on Højlund and Anthony. 165 million.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I mean, what's that? One player away from their first choice back four, probably. That's
Yeah, you would say.
Johnny Evans is actually starting.
Yeah, Johnny Evans is starting. Obviously, it would be Martinez. I mean, that is their best back four and keeper.
The midfield, they're obviously missing Bruno. You put Casemiro in there if he's fit. Front three. I mean,
Casemiro not been playing great though, even when he was fit. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But there's people on the bench even for both teams I've never heard of. Kamwala for Man United and James McConnell for Liverpool. So it shows injuries, man. They're packed in.
They've got Wan-Bissaka, Rashford on the bench, Reguilon on the bench, Donny just cheering the lads on.
It's Thiago Silva.
Look at the last name, Kamwala. I've literally never.
Yeah, never heard of him. Number 53 says a lot. Interesting though to see Nunes start ahead of Gakpo, for example. It's going to be interesting to see how Liverpool try and pressurise it. Do we think that it's a bit of people are thinking this is a foregone conclusion and that Liverpool are just going to wash Man United, or are Man United going to make a fight of it?
No, I think this is a pretty comfy Liverpool win. I mean, Man United's record against Liverpool over the last 4 or 5 times is ridiculous. 5-0, 4-0, 7-0, 7-0. That's just.
They've won here since they had Darmian in the team, and they had Fellaini on the pitch, Herrera. Like that's how long since they.
Was that when Mata scored twice? Not that long, was it?
May well.
That was like 10 years ago.
It was,
And Man United's away record against the top 10 sides is horrendous.
Yeah.
So I can't see them winning, but I was just wondering if you guys thought they could fight for a draw, because I think, for example, when they turned up at St James, they just battened their matches, Pogba wasn't hoped for the best. I think
that's the game plan. You look through that team. I mean, regardless of the quality of it, it's essentially 3 midfielders. Amrabat, man, Scott McTominay, that's 3 defensive midfielders, really. I think they're coming here and they're hoping to play on break a bit. I'm supporting them today. I want Man United win. I think for Arsenal's title challenge, we need United to win this.
What does that say, though? Like the fact that Arsenal fans are now sort of hope the plucky little underdog Man United win.
Do you know what? It's the biggest disrespect you can have as a fan. When a team that you consider to be your rivals are hoping you win a game though you've fallen through the floor, mate.
But you're not actually
The
rivals.
floor, mate.
We're not anymore. We're not anymore. We're not anymore.
That was just an era.
Mate, even a few years ago, we were fighting for top 4 with this team.
Yeah.
No one's talking about them for top 4 anymore. We just had a long conversation
Even
about
last year, you were
Aston Villa,
supposed.
Tottenham and
No, last year, let's keep it real. You were supposed to be fighting for top 4 with Man United, but you eclipsed them. Like the amount of money was being spent on Man United, they were supposed to. Again, we've said how Mason Mount, Onana, Anthony, Højlund, like these are serious amounts of money being spent regularly by Ten Hag. They just none of them have worked. Not one of their signings under Ten Hag is looking good right now.
Well, it's funny what you said, Joe, about the last time they won at Anfield. Think about what that team was. Even back then, that team with the had Herrera in it, had Fellaini in it, had Darmian in it, we were all going, God, this doesn't feel like a Man United team. This is low in quality. What's going on here? They've got worse. They've got worse, man. It's been like, back then we thought, God, we will never see a Man United team this bad again. It's been a 10-year slide since then.
Take for example the Champions League defeat to Bayern Munich, which, you know, obviously it's Bayern Munich, but you're in your last game in the Champions League, have a go. You watch Newcastle lose to AC Milan. We had, 15 shots, I want to say 7 or 8 on target. We really went for it, we lost, fair enough. You go down swinging. Man United had 5 shots, 1 on target against Bayern. It was embarrassing that they had such a lack of ambition.
The whole thing, and do you know what it was? I think that's because they conceded so many goals in the group up at the last stage against likes of Copenhagen and Galatasaray scoring 3 goals, 4 goals against them with fun. So they were terrified. Bayern would slap them up 4 or 5-0, I think.
That front three, I'm looking at it, is shocking. Anthony, Højlund and Garnacho.
Well,
Garnacho
I think Garnacho has talent and Højlund has talent. Anthony, I'm yet to see any reason why they spent 80-odd million on him.
But as a free, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying individually. I'm saying as a free. If I'm Liverpool, if I'm Van Dijk, if I'm these players, I'm looking at that thinking, come on, this ain't really that.
Come on, man.
We've got some stats about Ten Hag's season so far. It is pretty damning. Brace yourselves. No English club had ever conceded 15 goals in the Champions League group stages until Erik Ten Hag. Manchester United have never lost 4 out of 6 Champions League group games until Erik Ten Hag. And we've got a bit of the defeat stats as well. He's lost 12 games out of 24 this season. I think that might have gone up since then. David Moyes lost 15 games out of 51 while in charge of Manchester United. Gary Neville actually had a better win record at Valencia than Erik Ten Hag this season.
Very
underrated. So if you're looking at the loss rate in terms of seasons, David Moyes was 29%, Louis van Gaal 25%, Mourinho 33%, Oli 41%, and Erik Ten Hag's rate this season is 50% defeats. So technically, if you're basing it on this season alone, Erik Ten Hag would be quite clearly the worst manager since Sir Alex Ferguson, contrary to what a lot of people think. Now, like, what has he got wrong? Looking before the game, you're looking at the lack of goals this season. They got rid of Cristiano Ronaldo. And now looking back at that, say what you want about the personality, yada, 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 he guarantees you goals. And they went for the kid, Højlund, who, for me, should be like a substitute behind a guy like a Harry Kane or Ronaldo or a leading man. You then fall out with Sancho and favour Anthony. Sancho, I think, was the last forward to score a goal at Old Trafford for Manchester United.
Hardly. Jadon Sancho?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
That's insane.
Apparently,
That's crazy.
It might have
like 3
might
months.
have been in the league only. I can't remember what. But the point still stands. You then replace David De Gea, who, yes, he made his mistakes, but nowhere near as many mistakes as Onana.
Yeah.
Onana's looking like one of the worst signings we've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know if you can legislate for that though. I thought that would be a good signing because he's a ball-playing, progressive goalie. Similar with Man City got Edison and Allison. I thought that was an upgrade on De Gea, who, let's be honest, has been shot for years. But I don't know, man. I don't think you can legislate for a goalie with such a crisis of confidence as Onana. Like,
that's an extreme thing, but like. Yeah. It just shows like look, Mason Mount hasn't worked. I mean, many of his signings haven't worked. And Mount has been injured, to be fair to him, but when he hasn't been injured, he's just looked flat. And Anthony, by the way, has 0 goals and 1 assist in his last 25 Manchester United games.
He tracked about that.
He definitely does. And that's look, at the end of the day, he's like Miguel Almiron, just without all the mistakes and all of the quality. He's just running around. Just
you really hit.
He doesn't even smile like Mickey.
Come on, Mickey scored yesterday. Come on, it's world-class strike. That was.
I was like, he actually managed to put it in the net, but no, like everything that's coming for Manchester United right now is getting worse and worse and worse. And the longer he's there, the worse it gets. And I think today for them to have such little hope in a game like this, I think should be the biggest eye-opener that Ten Hag isn't the guy.
Look, I think it might be harsh because he'd only won the League Cup a couple of months before. or a month before, but I thought after the 7-0, he shouldn't have survived that. I don't think. I might be really cutthroat because he'd barely been indoors 20 minutes, but 7-0 in the biggest game of the season. That's not just an embarrassment for last season. That is a historical stain on the club. Same as Brentford 4-0. Like, these things last in the memory for decades afterwards.
I know. Obviously, you got to win against Chelsea, and a lot of teams are winning against Chelsea this season. But at least with Solskjaer's Man United, you know, when it used to get really bad, that's when he used to go on a little run and start putting some really impressive wins together. So the way I would level it, and look, I'm not saying that it just means that they would have been.
The fuck?
But if that's Solskjaer's Man United, I genuinely think that maybe they get a result against Bayern where
Do you wanna know why that is?
quite bad.
Because they like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the difference between Ten Hag and Solskjaer. Ten Hag's a fraud. Solskjaer was a fraud. But Solskjaer did work hard for him and care
He
about
was a
him.
likeable fraud.
Yeah.
He's got the legacy of the
The
treble.
likability as a manager will get you somewhere. Where the lads are like, fuck me, we're going to get a fucking disciplinarian, we better pull it out, because then some real bastard's going to come in. And ultimately, that's exactly what the chairman went for, was a bastard to put them in their place. And that's what modern footballers don't respond to that, and we're saying it now. Like,
they were playing a bit of brand of football under Solskjaer as well.
Yeah.
Like they haven't really levelled up. They won a cup.
they've never beaten PSG under Eric Ten.
No. And I was literally thinking, this shows where Chelsea are right now. When we were going into the match with Man United, I was thinking they could just down tools on him here, couldn't they? And we could win the match against them that way. And that was like probably my most confident outlet of how we were going to win that game.
What does that say?
It's mad, isn't it? Like, it is crazy. But I genuinely do think that whether the players are down tools or not, obviously, like, look at Marcus Rashford. Like, Rashford does not seem like he wants to be there at all. Whether they're down tools or not, they're not having this manager. And we've called it for ages, and we've said, oh, no, Man United haters and whatever. You can tell, like, they don't even really need to know football. You can just look at body language. They're not having it.
Everything you're saying right now is setting up for them to come out and upset. You don't even need to know football.
That's where we're going there.
It's actually mad when you think of the fact that last month he won Manager of the Month. Harry Maguire got Player of the Month. When you actually think about it, it's insane.
But those results were so fraudulent. They were against like the lowest of the low in the league, and even then they were scraping.
So they didn't take that into account, did he?
Rubbish against Fulham, pull off a win, you know what I mean? Like,
Burnley,
Who decides that? Who decides Manager of the Month and Player of the Month? Do we know? Do we know who actually decides it?
There must be some sort of committee at the Premier League. The same fuckers who are ruining VAR and all the rest of it.
But I swear when Ten Hag was seen at Ajax, was there much of a clamour for him from other European clubs? Like,
Tottenham rejected him.
Tottenham rejected lack of personality.
I will say, when Poch was at Tottenham, he had interest from everyone. Real Madrid wanted him, Man United, Chelsea. You were clinging on to him. With Ten Hag, I think it was just Man United that wanted him.
Do you know what it is? The reason Tottenham gave really says a lot, though. They said he wasn't charismatic enough, and fuck me, I can't argue with it. Like, every interview I see is like watching paint dry.
Was that when they were trying to replace Mourinho, or was that?
No, that was before they got
When they got Nuno.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Mr. Personality.
He weren't charismatic enough, but then they got Nuno for it.
Nuno had no
charisma.
Wow. He just got sacked in Saudi. That's
To be
crazy.
fair, Conte didn't sound like he had much charisma in the interviews either. I know he's a wildcat with the players.
No, Conte's got charisma.
In
If you don't like him, if he's ranting, he's got charisma. It's like, I just want to...
He's watchable, man. I'd watch the content.
Yeah,
I'm
all the
not
time.
watching any Ten Hag.
It stressed me out, though. I can't lie.
Does anyone give a chance of a draw? Predictions?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I will.
I will.
You want anything.
No, but I think it could happen. I think the way they've set up, they're literally just there to frustrate you.
Anyone really think it's going to be a draw?
No.
Liverpool missing players though. You look at that midfield. That is not the midfield they'd want to field here.
Man United do not remember this. They tried to St James Park last season, could have lost 5-0. It's the same story this time. They've jumped to Anfield, but they lost 7 a few months ago.
Liverpool win this, but I think there is a slight little
I said
chance of
3-1.
a draw.
They're going to score so quickly now. They're going to score so quickly.
Yeah, no, I think Liverpool better.
Very well.
But I think if you look at history, obviously, when Liverpool beat a manager, that's when the manager gets sacked at Man United. So, I mean, I wonder if this is it.
Could be.
I haven't seen this kit before. Have they won
It's
this
a banging.
season?
It is a nice kit. I like it.
This is their nicest kit.
I'm pretty sure this is their biggest attendance at Anfield for like 50 years as well, because they're opening up
The new top of the stadium.
Yeah.
If Man United perform a miracle and somehow win this game here, what does that say for Liverpool?
Alright, well,
What does that say?
Well,
What does it say for Liverpool?
It's a nail in their title, actually. But what it says for Liverpool is it feels like this is a league that no one wants to win.
Because you've got to remember, Liverpool this season, as much as they're top of the league stuff, they haven't been convincing in their wins. A lot of them's been last-minute winners by Trent, pulling it back. Didn't McAllister get a last-minute winner?
Darwin Núñez scored 2 in the last 2 minutes against Newcastle.
Yeah.
We were 1-0 up. But this is the thing. Arguably, that's championship mentality. That's what they're showing in the last minutes of so
But
many
you can't do that for a whole season, though.
Yeah, but...
And I think defences win titles at the end of the day. And for me, that Liverpool defence, they've got good players in there, but they
Statistically, up until the Fulham game, though, they had been the best.
Oh my God, Onana's in fucking no man's land. What was he doing, man? He literally comes out and he's nowhere near. Like, the defence have got this ball covered and he's just sitting there in the background and just fucking around. He's shite. Look at him. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He hasn't got a fucking clue.
He proper looks like when you put a fullback in between the sticks because the keeper's injured.
Mate.
He's got that vibe about him. No one trusts him. No one
Champions League.
Yeah.
You see that last goal you can see in the Champions League where, like, every average 4 out of 10 goalkeeper, when the player comes through, he's right on him. He's like a fucking scarecrow on his line.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Super low on confidence as well.
Yeah, that's him.
He's got talent though as well. Like,
Nah, come on. He was.
I liked him at Inter and I.
Yeah, he was in the Champions League final 6 months ago. Like this is not peak Onana. This is him suffering.
But I think he suits a team where he doesn't have to make too many saves. He suits a team. Now again,
A lot of keepers
as
do.
far as
A lot of
insults
keepers
go, in the same way that me wanting United to win a game, saying about a goalkeeper that he suits a team where he doesn't have to make saves is a bit of
Suits a team where he doesn't have to score a lot of goals.
But you understand what I'm trying to say? If all he has to do is kick the ball with his feet, he's groovy. As soon as someone shoots at him, it goes through.
I get what you're saying, but I think this plays more to what you were saying, Brian, about it's just down to Ten Hag, man. I just think the coaching, these players are not having it. You know they're not having it when your 2 best players have been Maguire and McTominay. That's when you know the talented players in the squad are just not performing.
I can't have this about Onana. Like, and I'm not disagreeing that like he showed quality beforehand, and I'm not disagreeing that he has had a crisis of confidence, and maybe he will improve. But the amount of just enormous mistakes, like monumental mistakes we've seen him make, like he single-handedly torpedoed their European dreams on his own. Like, and have we ever seen a goalkeeper ever make this many mistakes this early on in a career in a big club and recover? I've never seen it.
Not as many, but I remember De Gea was wobbly at the start. He had a bad first 6 months.
Difference, he was a child, he was very young, right, with 21, 20 years old. Onana's 27, he's in the prime of his career.
Yeah.
Like, you were bought for 50 million to come in now.
Also, De Gea is currently unemployed. Like, we can't say that he completely turned things around when he hasn't got a club.
No, you can for sure. He was the best goalie in the world at one point. Come on.
Good enough they replaced him with Onana.
But on what Craig was saying before about Ten Hag's tactics, interestingly, in the Premier League, the 2 strikers who've received the least amount of passes into them in the Premier League, starting strikers, were Højlund and Martial. So tactically, they're not set up to service the striker. Yeah. So, like, that is 100% down to Ten Hag. You bought the winger that you insisted on playing. Like, if there's one thing we can say about Sancho, there's not a doubt in my mind Sancho would have more goals and assists in 25 games if he played those ones that Anthony played, than 1 assist and 0 goals in 25 games like Anthony. Like, there's no way Sancho would only have had 1 assist.
But we made this point before, didn't we? Like, when was Sancho at his best? When he was feeding balls to Haaland and Dortmund. And now you've got a striker there who, of course, he's nowhere near Haaland's level, but his name's similar. No, he's nowhere near Haaland's level, but obviously,
he runs in behind.
in terms of actually what he does, he's trying to do a similar type of job, and you're not even experimenting it. Why are you not doing that? Because your ego is getting in the way of things. Like, and that's we've said it, haven't we? That's another reason why he's not so much in the dressing room. Because in a workplace, which is what this is for these boys, you don't always think, oh, well, you're the best worker here, and that's why. No, I don't think that. I used to work with people that were shit at their job, but they were a good laugh, and I liked them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if my boss was being a helmet to them, then all of a sudden I'd think, like, oh, leave it out. You know what I mean? He's undoubtedly, he has lost a lot of the dressing room through the treatment of Jadon Sancho, and that's undeniable.
What we're saying so far, lads, 5 minutes in, just for those who aren't watching the game at home, if you're listening, hit the like button, thanks very much, is Man United tried to play out from the back and just had a nightmare. So they've gone long with Onana now, they've sort of given up on that. And for me, Route 1 isn't a bad idea against his Liverpool side. And they're now on the attack. And then he cuts in on the left. Oh, and it's...
And he does what Anthony does.
Who would have thought he'd have cut in on his left there, eh?
Shocker.
Anthony cutting on his left.
That's just one move. Twice a season he'll score a goal doing that.
Everyone goes, yeah, but Robin only had one. Robin was fucking good.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Every week.
I love when people go...
Dion Warrior's only got one punch, haven't he?
Yeah, they use the exception to the rule that disproves the rule. It's like a fucking moron for even saying that. Like, Ian Robin, the best one-footed player in it. Oh, by the way, he'd be a World Cup winner if he had another foot. I don't know if either of you remember that, but he fucked it in the final, didn't he, with that with the right foot. Miggy Almiron, though. He's the worst.
You can't resist, man. Leave Miggy alone.
You're on him.
He's like the nicest, happiest footballer, bro.
I'm just glad I wasn't.
Would you have Mudryk over Almiron?
No. This is how bad it is. I rate Almiron ahead of Mudryk. Did you see the Mudryk shot yesterday where he hit it from about 20 yards out and it just went to the corner?
What did you say to me? You missed every chance you didn't take.
Yeah, I didn't say that, you fucker. But Josh is on holiday at the moment, so he doesn't have to put up with us.
Where's he gone?
Rinsing these...
Egypt.
Liverpool on the attack now, plays it through.
What do you think of Nunes? Like, honestly, what do we honestly think of Darwin Nunes?
I know Anthony Legenda, the guy loves him. He thinks he's going to be like a Ballon d'Or winner.
I don't know about that anymore.
No chance.
No, I don't think he's saying that at the moment. I don't know.
Oh, he's not. No, but listen, Nunes. Everyone was going to say he's going to kick on after he scored 2 against us the last 10 minutes. Like, that was the confidence maker of him, but I don't know, man.
When does he play a role?
He's not bad this season, statistically, but
But he doesn't start games in a row for me. Like, you know, to be a number 9, there's a couple of things you need. You need regular service with a team built around the understanding that you're the main man. Which, while Mo Salah's in this team, I don't think will ever be the case. You can't beat them. Like, I'm not saying Mo Salah won't try and pick them out, but you know, with Man City, they bought Haaland. They changed their entire style of play to suit Haaland and to get the best out of Haaland. Whereas with Darwin, they bring him into the team and they expect them to sort of slip into their style. And I don't believe that he is anything like a Mane, a Firmino. Like,
Jesus.
we've just
dancing all right.
I just think we've all been around the game long enough now to know that when we speak about these players that we're waiting for to come good, they never really come good, do they? Like, what examples can you really give me? Like Gareth Bale, like he was one that when he was early on, we were saying when he comes good, he could come really good, and it happened. But for every one example like that, I can give you 100 that didn't. You know what I mean?
He's also very expensive, like 80 million. I think it's 80, 85.
I just think if your team is top of the league starting this game week and you haven't had any real contribution to that, and like.
The fuck? What the fuck is that noise? Damn. Ooh. Keep on hearing bullshit in here, boy. You.
Like you said, the manager isn't starting you week in, week out. I think it says a lot about you, to be honest.
I'd like him for Newcastle. I think he plays like heavy metal football. He's brilliant at that, like pressurising. He's got all the pace, the strength. He's not a waste of a shirt. Like, look, he puts the graft in, and I think that he's a bit of a. He's not like an Anthony, right? You signed Anthony. He's a total waste of a shirt. It was a total waste of money. Is he an £80 million player, Nunes? I don't think he is, but I also don't think he's a waste completely. I think there's
Would he not be
talent there.
Would he not be good for you at Spurs, Ben?
I'd have him. I'd have him, but I mean,
he's not clean enough though. I think that's the thing you talk about. Like you boys are playing Son up top now. That's a clean technical footballer. Isaac at Newcastle, that's a clean technical footballer. You know, Jesus at Arsenal, even Haaland at City. People go, he's just a goal scorer. He's got he can keep a ball. Mate, Nunes' touch is like a trampoline. And he's 24 as well. He's not a kid. We talk about him.
Knowing what you're going to get from a player is so underrated as well. Like, Son goes through on goal or gets an opportunity. You know what you're going to get from Son. You know what I mean? Whereas with Nunes, you might get sent brilliant, but you might get sent shocking.
Can Nunes be what Garnacho fires over? Can Nunes be what Emil Heskey once was, in that he's like a battering ram for a smaller, more gifted, faster player, and be the strong man? Like,
I don't think they spent that money on him for him to be what he was.
No, I agree, but I think you kind of got to cut your cloth to suit what you've got now and go, right, you're not what we thought, because you know he's coming on as a substitute against Newcastle and doing what he did, and I think as a substitute you may be more best placed for Liverpool to be that role. Like, if I had for Newcastle, I'd play Isak till like 70 minutes, and then I'd look at Nunes and I'd go, right, they're tired, go on and fucking tear the life out of them, frighten them.
I think when Darwin Nunes was signed for Liverpool, if you told the fans that he'd be the next Emil Heskey, I think they'd burst into tears.
I know.
Probably made him get yellow for that.
Because Newcastle were in for him, and we didn't get him, and then we signed Isak because we didn't get him.
Yeah. Who is going through a bit of a bad patch at the minute, though?
I think he's
Everton, you talked about to being like the best striker side.
He's
not the league.
No, this is the thing, is I've definitely seen exactly what you're on about. His legs look so heavy.
Yeah.
But still, do you know when I was talking about the lowest passes to be received as a starting striker? Isak's in the top 5.
Is he?
So he scored like 7 goals in 12 games, but with some of the worst service to him.
Yeah.
So, what do you expect when you've got Miggy Almiron on there, 5 assists in 5 years?
Can someone just doing that? They're going to counter and
I swear down, though.
We could start a drinking game. Drink every time Ryan mentions.
Smash my half.
Get the whiskey out. Let us know how you're getting on. But no, I think that's a part of the problem in Newcastle, is just the service there.
How long do you reckon till Højlund scores a goal for Man United?
He's been in the league.
I don't want to keep having to see that meme on Twitter.
What is it?
You got
12 games, 13 games or something?
He hasn't scored in the league.
13.
He scored in the Champions League, but not in the league.
Champions League.
Every week
that go from.
we see that geezer on Twitter singing that song.
Yeah, I know.
The little guy with the Barakni, bless him.
Yeah.
I
know who you're talking about. Every time Højlund has a bad game, he's not really looking like him. But you know what I'm saying.
Wait, he looks like Højlund.
Yeah.
What's the song?
Fuck knows. He's not like a well-known musician or anything like that. You know what I'm talking about, Dave?
How's it go?
I've got to search it because
The floor is yours.
I mean, it's the first video. This is the thing. There you go.
There you go, straight away.
First video that comes up.
Oh, yeah, I like that kid. Who is he?
Yeah.
He's Australian.
It's low-key a banger, to be fair to him.
He looks like the one from Breaking Bad, doesn't he? Todd.
Yeah, he does a bit.
He looks like the what?
Todd from Breaking Bad.
The one what from Breaking Bad?
Remember Todd?
Blonde guy.
You fucking idiot. So, anyway, he's a good singer, right? But he's not Højlund, and people make the comparison that he looks like him. I don't think that's fair. But, you know, to either man, they're both beautiful in their own way. Alright? Let's settle that about it, yeah? Alright? 12 minutes gone.
All goes to shit when Josh is on holiday.
This is it. Josh will be watching, having a fucking
Is this a talking point, or I don't know how I'm supposed to analyse this?
No, just do you like the song, really? To be fair, right, Man United will be happy with this, in terms of they're making it scrappy, and they've weathered the first 10 minutes.
Look at that graphic. See what I say about their record against Liverpool. It is absolutely shocking. 18 goals for Liverpool, 1 for Man United in the last 6 games. That is horrendous.
You see that from Anthony there? That pass he just gave.
He's fucking
It's
useless.
so bad, man. I can't believe people don't talk about it. I know people
Can you
talk
give him some
about
constructive feedback? Because he's sick.
Yeah.
Remember that? He has, if you're going to criticise us, at least make it constructive. I'm like, fuck me, where do I start with you?
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're giving him as many commentary curses as we can to help him today.
The sad thing is, I quite like Garnacho. I don't mind Garnacho. I think like he's a bit younger than the rest of me. I think he's a decent player. But the thing is, when you're Garnacho, if you're going to play in a front three, you want the other two to be players you can rely on.
Well,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
you
yeah,
know
to
when
carry
the
him a
ball's going to
little
come,
bit.
who can
Yeah.
carry you a little bit. Exactly. He's the most trustworthy out of that three.
Yeah, he's shown hints of magic here and there, and even in games that he's not actually played that well in, he's turned up and done something. You know, I think he would, in a team with less pressure on them, maybe like an Aston Villa, where the expectations aren't necessarily to go and challenge or anything, but he can come in and out of the side, have a little run as a substitute. But with Man United, the fact that they're starting him, I think, says everything about the lack of quality at this point.
You spoke about the Man United team for like 2015. You said there's been no progress. It reminds me of Under Moyes when they had Januzaj, and he was like,
exactly the same.
he was held up to that wonder kid, and they put all the pressure on him, and in the end, he just burnt him out. He went to Sunderland. It was crap.
You can see that happening with Garnacho. You could see it sort of not quite happening here. He goes somewhere else and there's just no career, and you go, why did you pick that guy as your hope? And it's like, because you had no other hope.
He'll be the next Makeda. But no, I actually do think he can be a quality player. It's just I don't think that Ten Hag has the ability to manage this team and actually like look after him.
So go on then, give some solutions then. If you're a Man United fan, what one striker, what one in the forward line would you sign in the summer? Who would make the biggest difference?
Tony for me makes sense.
You think?
Tony for me makes a lot of sense. Like what I was saying about a minute ago with Garnacho. If you're Garnacho, if you had someone like Tony next to you, that helps. Do you know what I mean? Someone who can receive the ball, hold the ball, feed you a little bit.
The only thing with Tony is he hasn't played in what, like 7 months?
Yeah.
It could be one of those.
It's a weird market though at the moment. Like there aren't that many. Everyone's talking about Osimhen.
Oh, surely.
Jeez,
Oh my God! I just got away with one big time.
Wow.
And I was sticking up for him as well.
It's hard to watch.
I was
It's
sticking
hard
up
to
for him.
watch.
Mate, he's covered his fucking keeper gloves with Lurpak.
Yeah.
His confidence is so short. It's genuinely hard to watch.
Let's see it.
He comes to claim a very easy ball, and he drops it, and it lands to Mo Salah of all people, who manages to just skew it wide.
It's on his right foot.
Like that alone is just criminal in a game of this magnitude, and it's every single game. Like if you're playing Man United, the thing that people don't do enough of against Man United is just fucking shoot. Shoot from 20 yards, 25, it doesn't matter. Just get it on target, you've got a chance.
And he has had those moments now to turn his confidence around. Obviously, there was the penalty save in the Champions League, wasn't there? And you're thinking, okay, you could push on from here. There was a little period of, you know, like when someone's been doing really bad, and then all of a sudden they still not great, but they don't do as bad. We go, they've turned the corner. There was a little period.
Saying that.
Yeah, there was
after they played the relegation team.
Exactly. Yeah, there was that little time when you were like, oh, okay, maybe he's starting to come good, but. I don't know, if I'm a Man United fan, I'm probably ruling out the opportunity that this season we see any real good come of him and him live up to the price tag. But
they need to sign a backup goalkeeper, I would say.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, just someone who...
You know they should sign, who's pretty good? The Gale.
Well, what about Henderson that they had? Like, is he actually contracted? I can't remember if that actually...
Nah, they sold him.
Right, because he was loan, and then was he signed and wasn't he?
He's gone. And did alright yesterday. He was in goal against Man City.
Yeah.
2-2 draw.
We got a corner here to Liverpool. The pressure is still on. Well defended by Amrabat. Trent whacks it. Nah.
They're just losing all the battles, Man United. They're not even. Do you know what I mean?
They never get the second balls.
Nah,
they never ever
passion. That's when you know players aren't playing for their manager.
Because it's just pure down to hard work, isn't it, mate?
Do you think if another manager comes in though, straight away it elevates Man United up the league?
Mo Salah in the box.
I think it does. I think for a couple of reasons it can. First of all, because I think it's a bit of a funny league this season where, as we spoke about earlier, there's a lot of moving parts. Aston Villa are currently top 4. They could drop out. Spurs were up there a minute ago. Now they've dropped out. Do you know what I mean? It's like what you said earlier, Craig. There's not that many points between sort of like 8th and 9th and sort of 3rd. So I think they could. But also, it's what we said about like they have got quality. In that squad, they've got players who we've seen do it.
It's £1 billion.
No one likes Bruno, but we know that Bruno can play. Casemiro might be over the hill. We know that he can still play. Sancho, if you get the right manager, he can play. There is quality.
There is definitely quality in the squad.
When it comes to new management, Man United, because they're such a petulant, moody squad, I don't know. Like, they got rid of Jose Mourinho, one of the best managers in the world, bring in Ali, suddenly an upturn in form. There's no way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's on the same page as Mourinho, but because they liked him, they went on a fucking 20-game winning streak.
Well, I think that says a lot about the type of manager that they need, though. They need a babysitter. They need a big Ange type of big friendly giant type.
Well, they're linked with Greg.
But then can I say something? As bad as Ten Hag is, and he is bad, like we have to admit that, we can't ignore the problems that are going on at Man United as a club, though. There's definitely problems there. And it was confirmed when Ronaldo came out and did that interview. I've said it time and time again. He said it, Mourinho said it, they've all said it internally, the club's not being run properly. So I feel like, get rid of Ten Hag, he's not good enough, bring someone in, but this is going to be the same sort of problem
the story
until they sort it out.
Yeah, the story at the minute is that they're trying to get Dan Ashworth out of Newcastle. That's what they're saying today.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you see the point of the newspapers when Manchester United received boost in pursuit?
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, does that mean Ashworth said, come and get me, or what?
No chance with you.
Like, look how they had, I don't want to bring up his name again, he's moved on, but look how they handled that Mason Greenwood situation, the club. Like, look how they handled that. It was a shit show.
I mean, he's still their player.
Well, you say he's moved on. Yeah, he ain't moved on. He's just on loan, and they're hoping that he'll do well this season. Then they can get a little bit more money from them.
They handled it horribly. They're not moving correctly as a club, in my opinion. Like, at all.
So do you not think, like, even when Eddie Howe came in, I think it took him a couple of games to start winning, didn't it? It took him like 3 games or something like that. And there was obviously the one game with Steve Bruce still in charge after the Newcastle takeover. But straight away,
that was funny.
St James's Park sounded lively again. It sounded optimistic again. And straight away, even though you didn't start winning the second the takeover happened, you could tell something was happening. Do you not think there's that chance? I know it's not a full takeover, it's what, 25%, but if Jim Ratcliffe comes in, do you not think that there's that chance that you don't even need to replace the manager? All of a sudden, just the vibe, the atmosphere, the optimism all lifts around Old Trafford.
I don't think so. I think it's a false equivalency because when Ashley was gone, Ashley was absolutely 100% gone. Glazers still have, 75% control? Like,
they're still there. And also, like what you were saying, Craig, about the Ronaldo interview, it's like, it runs throughout the whole club. I mean, they don't stop going on about the roof on that fucking stadium. But it's like, do you know what I mean? Or the catering, or the fact it's the same chefs as it was Ronaldo was there the first time. There is so much to change there.
If it isn't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
And what was the thing they said the owners didn't show up for recently? There was something they were criticised for the
passing of Bobby Charlton.
Yeah, like they didn't even show up for their biggest legend. Like, come on, man.
Ten Hag wasn't at that funeral.
Goal. Oh, he's missed.
And he still is that. Yeah, but that just to me, that shows you've got owners that just really do not give a shit about the club. Like, they don't care.
Even the way they've sold the club, even the way they've tried to sell the club has been bollocks. Like, in terms of always selling, but really they were just, let's figure out where we are on the market. We'll take a small piece. We're then going to inject money into the club, not at our expense, inflate the price even more, make even more money down the road. None of it was sincere in any way.
At Newcastle, you guys know it's the perfect example. When you had Mike Ashley, was Eddie Howe there?
No.
So Mike Ashley's there. Do you think if Eddie Howe comes in while Mike Ashley's there, this still happens? What's happening now?
No.
That's how important.
We would have improved, but
not like this.
But nowhere near.
You just got out of relegation.
But there is a difference, though. Is like
that's the
difference is Newcastle were not spending any money at all. Facts. Man United have consistently been spending shitloads on Ten Hag signings. They've all been shit. Yeah. So Ten Hag is the problem as well. Like that's the
100% he's the problem. Like you could just see they don't even play good football. Yeah. But I'm just talking in terms of
the vibe.
I think even if another manager comes in, which another manager probably will, I just don't know what that manager's going to do in the way the club's being run at the moment. It just feels the club feels toxic.
Yeah. And even is Ratcliffe, is he the big saver of the Ineos group? I mean, what's he done with Nice? I mean,
a lot.
I was listening to a Casper Schmeichel interview the other day. He said it was pretty much a toxic atmosphere. He was basically told he wasn't the future as soon as he signed. Right now, they're wanting Graham Potter. They're wanting to follow the Brighton.
That was hilarious. When I saw that come up, I was laughing my head off.
And
might as well get Lampard in.
Who would they go for, realistically? If Ten Hag was to go, who would they go?
The same part.
No.
That's what they're saying.
Come on.
He's on the shortlist, they're saying, if he goes.
Yeah, I think they need a nice guy. They need a nice guy.
You didn't see that report this week?
I've seen the report, but that's got to be bollocks,
Joey,
man. You can't.
How did you feel when you got Potter in? Because at the time, Potter was one of the most highly rated managers in the country. I said it from day one. It was just overrated English bias. It was him. Do you know what? In 2021, it was him and Steven Gerrard were the 2 highest rated English managers in the world.
2 great managers. No, I was obviously disappointed because it came off the back of us losing Thomas Tuchel, and no one really wanted to see Thomas Tuchel go at the time. But do you know what? Graham Potter came into Chelsea, and a lot of people forget. I think it was took him 8 games to lose or something like that. I was at his first game. I was at the game in the Champions League against AC Milan when we battered them. Graham Potter started off all right at Chelsea. I think anyone was going to fail around that time because of the ownership and the structure of the club. But I've got no doubt that Potter could be a decent manager again in English football. But Man United, I think the job's too similar. I know there's different underlying factors, but the going into Man United is too similar to going into Chelsea at that time.
Situations are very hard to sort out, which a lot of it is above his head.
Zerbi?
I don't even think De Zerbi's that
Man
good.
United, De Zerbi at Man United. Is he better than Ten Hag?
But
Definitely say.
De Zerbi now has the hype that Potter had at Brighton. Like they were doing similar sort of. I mean, De Zerbi's doing it better.
Zerbi's a bit better, yeah.
He introduced them.
I think.
Sammy Hipia?
There's no way De Zerbi isn't better than Ten Hag for me. Like he's literally 1 point behind Ten Hag with about 5% of the net spend. You know what I mean? Like he must be better.
I guarantee you, Unai Emery does better at Man United.
Yeah, of course.
Unai Emery would actually do better with these sorts of players and show how much of a good coach he is there.
Michael Carrick would do better.
The thing you're saying about De Zerbi though, definitely better than Ten Hag. He probably is, but Ten Hag and Ajax, Emery was.
Yeah, it's
lazy.
It's a different ballgame though. Like you're playing in the Dutch league. Like come on. Like
You know what they would say to you?
Steve McLaren in the Dutch league.
You know what they would say to you? You got the semi-finals of the Champions League and you got to the final. I wouldn't agree with them, but I know what they would say. That's what they would say.
We got to talk about Man City because they're currently in the middle of the worst start Pep Guardiola has ever made to a Premier League season. We've got they're currently, how many seasons has he had? Fuck me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Is it actually the worst?
That can't be 8 seasons.
7, I think, isn't it?
2016 he came to 7 years.
They've got 34 points, which puts them in 4th place. They've never been in 4th place at this stage of the season, and their best points tally at this point in the season would be 49 points. So that's 15 points more than what they've got currently. That's the range that we're dealing with here. Now, they have actually had 35 points, which is one more than they've got now, and still won the league before. So they can still win the league. But we have to take notice of the fact that City are not looking that good this season. And I thought that there'd be a little drop-off because of a couple of players that they lost. But this is the point now where I think they're not going to win the title. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Arsenal look too consistent. I don't think that the mental weakness that Arsenal showed at the end of last season is going to be there. I think the addition of Declan Rice is keeping them consistent. I think Liverpool are looking consistent. And I think the championship mentality that both of those teams have shown, Man City are not showing that right now. Giving away a 2-goal lead against Palace at home is absolutely unheard of for a Pep Guardiola side.
Do you know what I would say about City though? I remember it was very similar in 2021 season, sort of a half lockdown season. I think they're about 9th at about November. I think they were. I think they made a really bad start. They lost 5-2 to Leicester, and I thought they were out of it. I think I did a video saying that Guardiola should probably move on. He's burnt out. He's stale. They won the league easily. Like I think City are the only team in the Premier League who could go on a 15-game.
Well, that's it. You'd never bet against them doing that.
I would. I'm going.
This year?
No, I am because the clutch players that they relied on before, obviously Gundogan and Mahrez on there, and I've mentioned that many a times on this, but also Kevin De Bruyne. I don't think it's fair to put the level of pressure on him to just come back and just can you just go in a 15-game? Like he's had a lot of injuries, and as much as great as he is, one of the greatest of all time in the league, no doubt. I just don't think it's fair to him to expect that. And other people are underperforming. Like, has Doku come in and been what people said he was going to be? He's a good player.
He started well,
but a little bit Alan Saint-Maximin in that he can do great tricks and he's effective and he's fun to watch. But is he going to run games for you the way Mahrez would? Is he going to have the impact in goals and assists the way Mahrez would?
The signings in general haven't really come.
Well, I mean, you bring us on to the midfield because they played Lewis in midfield yesterday, the young lad who can play. I think plays fullbacks from the AMZ. He plays all over because Pep likes to do that. But then you look on their bench. Calvin Phillips, a seasoned centre midfielder, sitting there, 50 million, sitting on the bench. Kovacic, sitting on the bench. So, like...
Nunes
also...
barely played a game.
So, it isn't just down to injuries, it's also Pep being Pep. You know, Pep likes to get overcomplicated sometimes. And Grealish, Foden, for me, are great players, but they were helped by the fact that they didn't have to carry the load while Mahrez, Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne were there.
Show it is. On those signings, can anyone really name me a player other than Haaland who Pep signed for City and did have a world-class debut season? They all seem to struggle. Even Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Grealish, they all seem to start slow. I don't know, man. It takes a while to get the
Grealish is that guy now. Like Grealish,
no, I don't either.
Grealish is a good footballer.
Good
save there from Ronaldo. I mean, it was sort of straight at him, but I've seen him make a meal out of him before.
Yeah, City are weird though. I saw City were linked to a João Paulino from Fulham this morning, which is just.
Well, I mean, who isn't though? Like everyone's looking at him.
I know, but they got Mateus Nunes in the summer. He's pretty much the same player. Like it's.
Grealish is a good footballer. I just don't think he's £100 million footballer.
Oh, absolutely. You know I never
won in the treble though, alongside.
No, he did, but alongside some of those great players and Phil Foden.
Absolute Irish.
Like Phil Foden hasn't pushed on.
Exactly.
He hasn't.
Exactly. Foden is like he's a complementary ingredient, but he ain't the guy, the main meat and potatoes of the situation. He's not. He's never going to be a Kevin De Bruyne level footballer. We're seeing Bellingham, for example.
I don't know,
as we said earlier this season, Bellingham is that guy who we thought Foden would be.
Do you know what they should have kept? Cole Palmer. Should have kept him.
But I think defensively...
Foden's only 23.
No,
23 isn't young.
I'm not writing him off as a footballer.
Like young.
No, but if he, let's just say
Let's
let's just say he stays at City the rest of his career. That is young in his career because he could be there for another 10 years.
It's young in his career.
He could get to 27, 28, and we might still. I believe we're yet to still even see the best of Phil Foden.
I agree.
And he's still a quality player now.
I definitely agree with you, but I think like what you're saying about Bellingham, it's not just Bellingham. There's other players. You can even say Cole Palmer to extent who've gone elsewhere.
No, don't do that. Let's not do that.
I'm not
I
saying
swear you've had a thought.
We're not doing that.
I'm not saying
Phil Foden's way more than Cole Palmer.
I'm not saying
He's just a big fish in a shit pond at the moment.
Cole Palmer's been better than Foden.
But what I'm trying to say is these players who we're saying who are younger than Phil Foden have gone elsewhere and taken responsibility. Saka puts Arsenal on his back every week.
Yeah,
I
but-
can't
yeah, but
believe
you-
Anthony Anthony Gordon's doing it.
Yeah, but I could easily say that Saka or Cole Palmer, or I can easily say about Cole Palmer because they got rid of him, can't come into that City team and put that City team on their back.
But I'm saying that Foden has been there long enough now, and if you're Phil Foden, yeah, but what is he like? He's a 10, really. I know he's played wide, I know he plays here, there. He's a 10. If you're Phil Foden, really, since you came into that team 4 years ago, you've been looking at Kevin De Bruyne and going, one day I'm taking your seat.
It wasn't just Kevin De Bruyne though; it was David Silva as well. There were players there that were like, it was hard for him.
And he's not taking their seats.
Yeah, but
I've got a
we're
question
talking
for you,
about
Craig.
super some of the best players ever.
Phil
like.
Foden's a super talent.
You're
He's
talking
a
about
super
I
talent.
know, but you're talking about back then when he was like 21, 20 years old, trying to take the mantle off of players like David Silva, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne. They weren't going nowhere until they
But
went.
now he's 23. Take it.
And yeah, but it's only been what? But it's only been what, a third of a season? We're coming up to half of a
I've got a
season.
question though. Is there a worry and this is for English football as well? We all believe Foden's a mega talent. That's not what we're questioning. It's just the delivery on it. And I think Marcus Rashford is a mega talent, but he hasn't delivered on that yet.
No.
Has he? He scored plenty of goals. He set up plenty, but he hasn't hit the heights. And I think that despite the age of Foden, he's in football years older than his actual ages, and we should be seeing the direction of the ceiling coming closer and closer now. And I just think that what we're seeing is he's just not willing to take the responsibility of being the main man, and I don't know if he can. But while we're on to him, there's also the defence. Like, I just think that they're getting caught out by stupid mistakes. Like,
Yeah, they are.
down that right-hand side against Palace, Walker was bombing forward. They were caught out behind there. Like, Walker's getting on a bit as well. Like, it's a lot of responsibility to be asking of him.
To be fair, it is nothing usual for City to slip up against Crystal Palace. They are their bogey team.
It's their bogey team.
But what is unusual is for them to concede 4 against Chelsea, for them not to beat Liverpool, not to beat Arsenal.
3-game win this morning.
Spurs, yeah, Spurs. Do you see 3 games out of win in the Premier League?
Yeah, they went through without a win this season, haven't they?
Yeah, so...
Do you know one thing? You talk about the defence. One thing no one's talking about with Man City, they've got the most expensive defender in the world in Guardiola.
He's not hit the ground running again. We were talking about signings there that haven't hit the ground running. He's probably. I mean, look. I don't think he thought he was going to be playing like left back a lot of the time. Like they've stuck him out. But again, he's not one that's hit the ground running.
But then again, though, like John Stones hasn't really been fit. Like Diaz in there, but.
I just think there's other moving parts around City. I agree with everyone at the table that City have not been the City we know, but we got to understand as well that in the Premier League, anything around them would affect what happens with them as well. So we don't know, and obviously I'm just talking hypotheticals here, but we don't know that if Arsenal, for example, get injury to Saliba again, or another key player like Saka, what that does for their season.
No,
or Liverpool, if Liverpool lose Salah, or another key player in their team like Van Dijk, what it does for them.
No, you bang on.
I know right now they haven't had Kevin De Bruyne, who is probably the best player in the league. The last 2 games they haven't had Haaland, who is arguably, who is the best number 9 in the league. If they have all their players and everyone else has all their players, I think City win this thing. So I don't know, innit? I don't know if you're going to have your players the whole season. I don't know if
I think you're right. It's down to that. I would still say at this point, if you had to ask me to put money on any team to win this league, probably say City.
Yeah, I agree. City have got the best squad. That's not what I'm disputing. I'm disputing that Pep Guardiola is not as good as what people say he is, and for just
I'm looking at you. I know.
Brian,
let me learn.
Brian, Pep's the best manager of all time.
The credentials.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go off that.
In terms of medals and all of that,
You can't just slip that in as a fact.
Let me explain. I said I believe. I don't say it's a fact, but I think all of the credentials prove me wrong, right? This is an opinion. But what I'm saying is I think he's outspent. He's a checkbook manager who's had the luxury of inheriting a hell of a team and spending another $1 billion on top of them. The issue is he's now coming up against Arteta and Klopp, who are used to working within their means more than he is, and are now getting closer to his squad level. Now that FFP is slowly withering down the gap between them, and I think that Pep's signings, like the players he didn't use yesterday, Phillips, Kovacic, on up to the standard of what he's let go in Gundogan, you know, and it's coming back to haunt him, and I think it will come back to haunt him later this season, because when I'm watching games, I just feel like Arsenal are the favourites for the title.
Do you know why I disagree? I just think that going for the fourth one in a row, everyone knows, is just so difficult.
That's a fact.
You win 3 in a row. No one's ever done 4 in a row. They just done a treble. You've got to then galvanise this squad to go again, find the hunger levels again. It's very, very difficult. That's how I see this season.
Whilst having key injuries. Like, very key injuries.
I just
having
think that's...
Rodri out for time, De Bruyne out.
I take the point of he hasn't... The other managers, his compares in Klopp and Arteta, haven't spent as much as him. That's a fact. Like, no one can deny that. He's definitely had a checkbook. I'm not disputing that. But I just don't think you can question the quality of Pep Guardiola, man.
But you just alluded to yourself saying that where they get the hunger from. I mean, getting 4 in a row, like no one's ever done that in the Premier League.
Yeah, but that's not easy to do. That's just not easy to do.
No, but you're sort of alluding to having no hunger. Yeah, but where's the, you know, where's the motivation?
That is the challenge for Pep, though. That's what I'm saying. That is the challenge right now, to get them to go again and get that. But I don't think that's easy to do, and that's why it's never been done. Fergie couldn't do it. Who's done it?
I agree that that's a fact. I put it more down to Pep Guardiola has a great reputation for being a great coach, but he relies heavily on personnel. He always has the best team in the league, and I think that this is the first time I've genuinely looked at their team and thought, are you the best squad in the league? Probably, but is it closer than usual? Yes. And I think that the skill gap between you and the managers that you've got all these more medals over isn't actually what the medals suggest it is. I think you've just been buying those medals and actually been able to outspend them. And if if we actually found out the real level and you all had a similar playing field, you wouldn't actually beat them in these titles. A lot of the time would Pep beat them occasionally, yeah, but it would be a lot more evenly shared out. And I think that's what we're going to find out. That'll be proven this season.
From someone who's got sort of quite painful first-hand experience, we can't even buy a top 10 finish with £1 billion this season so far in Chelsea. So I do think that you've got to look at it away and go, yes, of course, the infrastructure's there, and you've always had the money, and you're right, he has always had the luxury of having the best squad, probably, but at the same time, there's a balance in the middle. You've got to get things
and
right.
And he also improves them. He brings in good players, very, very talented players, but he always improves them, in my opinion.
Well, they have to improve, because if they don't, they get thrown away. Like £50 million defender after £50 million defender. See you later. See you later. Like the treatment of Phillips. Like, you either improve or you're out the fucking door. Like, Pep has this luxury that other managers just don't have. Like the amount of players who are getting in this Liverpool team who Pep wouldn't even consider, and yet they're top of the league right now, speaks volumes.
The only thing with the Calvin Phillips one is I don't know whether Pep wanted him in the first place. Like, if he was any nationality but English, I'd be like, oh, you failed there. But because of obviously meeting the what is it, like in the squad you need X
I disagree.
Players, don't you?
I think Pep is quite picky with the Harry Maguire situation. Like, Pep must have all of the say at this point. I mean, you can't win 3 Premier Leagues in a row and not sign off on transfers at this stage. Like, he's earned the right to do that, but I could be wrong.
This season is going to be the biggest challenge of that. Like, this season, what City are doing now, they might go out and just throw 100 million quid at someone in January, and that's the difference.
There you go then.
Otherwise,
that proves my point.
They might do that. They might do that. The other thing he might do, which we've seen him do before, is change something tactically in the second half of the season and work it out. And that's going to be the challenge for me. I kind of want to see him do that. I'd love to see him do something a bit different with his team.
What are we relying on really, though?
He always switches up.
No, we're relying on Kevin De Bruyne coming back and
saying.
saving Pep's arse. That's what we're relying on. It's on De Bruyne to come back and provide for Haaland. If he doesn't, they're fucked, in my opinion.
And if he did go and spend that 100 million, we've all just said, like, no player really hits the ground running for Pep. So it may not even change things this season for him if he goes and spends that 100 million.
Would be though. I mean, is that who that's?
Yeah, it doesn't turn this City team all of a sudden into twice the team they are at the minute. And look, they don't need to be twice the team they are at the minute to then go on and potentially even win the title. They may even still do so here, but I think you need a bit more than just Paqueta to...
I don't know then, man. it's a weird one at the moment where he was the guy that they didn't get in the summer. He was the guy they were linked with, and you kind of go, well, okay, you want to, like, say they do want to replace De Bruyne. Who is that guy? If it's not Paqueta, who is it?
I don't know.
No, this is it, man. No one's got any names anymore. This is.
I mean, why are we placing such? I know De Bruyne's been unbelievable, but this City team. I remember when they got 100 points. They didn't have De Bruyne for half that season. He was injured in November. Was out for it, and they got 100 points. They were the Centurions. Like, they don't. The whole team doesn't revolve all just around De Bruyne.
It doesn't, but he is the best player. Who's better than him in the league?
I'm not saying that.
Does he elevate things? He also elevates Haaland.
All I'm saying is that they can win games without De Bruyne. They can.
I think in previous seasons they've had better players around De Bruyne to step up when he's out.
Exactly. Like I said,
probably.
I said last week, statistically, De Bruyne was their biggest goals and assist contributor from midfield, but third and fourth were Gundogan and Mahrez, and they're not yet. So you got to have Doku step up, Foden step up, Grealish step up, and we're not seeing that.
Yeah, clutch players as well.
Yeah, and this is that's where I look at the myth of Guardiola and say, like, yeah, he's a great manager, and I have no doubt that in seasons he would have outdone Arteta and Klopp, but the gap is nowhere near what people think it is because he's always had the best squad and the best players.
But there is a gap.
It's not a myth.
Because
It's not a myth. He's the greatest of all time.
Nah, but there's not a thing.
He is the greatest of all time. I can't argue with that, but I just don't think that the skill gap is really where it is.
I don't think you could pick a single manager in the Premier League right now, put him into Man City in 2016, and they have the same success or anything close to it.
No,
I don't think so. Maybe Klopp would be the next best, but
Even Klopp, and see, it's gonna sound like I'm disrespecting Klopp. I don't want to disrespect Klopp. I like
Go ahead.
Klopp, but how long has Klopp been at Liverpool now?
8 years.
8. You sure it's not more?
No, 2015.
So it's 1 year. He's been there 1 year more than Pep's been at Man City, basically. One Premier League title.
We can't ignore though, like, the spending gap.
Yeah, that's
between Klopp and it's literally like, yeah, I'm gonna tie one hand behind your back. We're gonna have a fucking boxing match. See how it goes. Yeah, like there's no way Klopp was ever in the same planet as Pep was in terms of money. And look, the more FFP come down on it, that's the one bonus is coaching and talent ID and the real, issues managers have got to face on a daily basis will not just be bailed out by we've got more money than you. And as much as a Newcastle fan, I should not want that to be. I think it's better for the sport.
Yeah, but how much was Van Dijk?
Mate, you're going to literally use the exception to the rule. That doesn't disprove the rule.
How much is Alisson? He still spent money, Klopp, though.
You literally, it's like there's only 2 players.
No, but he spent money.
Yeah,
he spent money.
But like, it's like I shop at Phoenix, you shop at fucking Gucci, mate. Like, Phoenix is.
It's more. No, you're going too far. It's more like I don't know. He's in Harrods and he's in Selfridges. It's not that much of a difference. I don't think there is, but obviously Pep spent a lot more money than Klopp. There's no denying that. But Klopp, like, how many other teams in the league spent more than Klopp?
Like a lot of them. A lot.
Oh no, in his tenure since he's been there.
Like for example,
5 teams.
Like I'll put it this is the best stat I've got off the top of my head. Ten Hag already has spent more net spend than Klopp has in a year and a half.
They're a joke, dog.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay. So like before we finish on this topic, does anyone here, along with myself, think Man City don't win the title this year?
I think no. Honestly, after yesterday's result, I think there is a chance they don't win this league now. Whereas every other week before this week, I thought City's got this still. No matter what's happening, he's still got this. But that result yesterday, to me, and even watching his interview after the game, he just looked a bit. He looked a bit edgy. He looked a bit like he's biting.
Do you not think the last few weeks though, like for example, with Pep in seasons gone by, he's always gone, do you know, it's going to be really hard. We're going to have to fight. It's going to be almost patronising because we're all like, bro, we know you got the best fucking team in the land. Like, stop trying to act like this is going to be hard for you. Like, everything's in your advantage. And yet, he's done the opposite this season. There was a question went to him and he went, yeah, I think we're going to win the league. And I thought, oh, you're actually fucking scared. Like, and I'm good with this shit. Fighting-wise, I see through fight interviews. It's one of my best attributes when I look at things. And I can tell immediately you're rattled, yeah. And I do think he's very aware that this is going to be one of the hardest ones.
Definitely.
Anyone think they definitely win the league still?
That's one thing I can say for sure. Like, normally, especially even last season when Arsenal were giving it a right good go, I'm normally always sat there like, so you're going to win it, man. They're going to win it. They're going to win it. And this season, I can't say they don't win the league, but I'm definitely not sat here feeling that.
I just think if there was, I don't know. It's like what you said earlier. You said no one really wants to win this league. Like, there's not a team out there who I think could step in and fill that void.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean? Like,
it's a fun.
Liverpool are struggling right here against Man United.
Liverpool have only lost one this season, though. You said there's not a team out there. I mean, they're doing pretty fucking well.
Yeah, but this isn't Liverpool like in 18-19 Liverpool.
This doesn't need to be though. If Man City don't go on this run that we're all predicting, like we're all sitting there thinking, yeah, but they'll go on a 13, 14 game run. If it doesn't happen, then Liverpool don't need to be. Liverpool don't even need to be as good as the season they finished second, and we're lucky. To miss out.
This is the weird thing about this season. Arteta and Klopp have both been in a weird situation now, where they will realise that this is their biggest opportunity in a very long time. Like we've just said, Klopp's legacy.
No, last season was Arteta's biggest opportunity.
Spent
the whole season top of the league. I was convinced Arsenal were going to win the league. I didn't think City were going to win it.
Are City better this year or last year?
Last year?
They were better last year, so this year's a better opportunity to win the league.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Look, the whole of last season, how many days do you... I'm not trying to do it. How many days did Arsenal spend top of the league? Last year, I was convinced Arsenal were winning the league. You couldn't have told me Man City were winning the league. They were so far behind at one point.
I guess what I'm trying to say is it's going to take a lower points tally this season to win this Premier League title.
To your point,
it's going to take a lower...
Man City had 5 draws, 5 defeats last season, and the other 28 were all wins, right? This season, Man City have already got 4 draws and 3 defeats, so they're nowhere near on schedule.
The reason I think City might still win it is because I don't think either Liverpool or Arsenal are perfectly poised to take advantage of what's happening at City right now. I think Liverpool, if you're asking Liverpool fans, they'll tell you they've done a midfield rebuild this summer, and if you look at their front three, it's like what we were saying about Núñez. I still don't think they've completely settled on a new front line after the Mane, Salah, Firmino front line moved on, right? Arsenal, kind of similar. We've kind of done a bit of a midfield rebuild ourselves. We bought, Rice and Havertz in, Partey and Jack have kind of gone out. So we like, I get what you're saying, Craig, that we were top of the league last season. We've made some big changes to our team this season to prepare for Champions League football, in the same way that Liverpool have had to rip things up in their midfield and start again. So I think the frustrating thing for both Klopp and Arteta is they'll be going, Christ, like this is the year where you could get City. This is the year where they're not going to get 98 points, 96 points, whatever it is, right? Neither team are properly prepared to take advantage of that now.
Yeah. And Liverpool right now are struggling to break down Man United.
I was literally about to say, we're saying all this right now, and if Liverpool were 2-0 up in this game, as probably I expected them to be by half-time, I know that sounds like it's quite confident of Liverpool, but if they were, then I'm sat here now thinking, yeah, Liverpool are going to be the ones that pull away, and we still got a lot of time to go.
To be honest, it's been
scrappy, isn't it?
It's been a lot like, well, actually Newcastle's game against Man United was actually more dominant than this. We just couldn't put the ball in the net. But similarly, Man United, just like against Bayern Munich and against many teams this season, they come with zero ambition and they're just trying to nick a draw, and that's where Ten Hag has regressed them to, like to take them all the way back to like playing what is, big Sam Allardyce football. That's the way Ten Hag's got them.
It's like we said before the game, the 3 holding midfielders and a couple of wingers who run. That is Man United.
It's 11 behind the fucking ball.
To be fair though, hasn't this been Man United's plan for going to Anfield for the last 10 years? Like, even Mourinho was doing this.
Yeah, but the whole point of moving on from Mourinho was we're going, right, Dutch football, Eric Ten Hag, it's going to be attractive football now. And it's just this again. I mean, I think Liverpool's problem, every time United get the ball, they are running through Liverpool's midfield quite easy. I don't think this has been a good endo game at all, and I think they do look like they miss someone else who's going to find that pass in the final third and create a proper chance. Because as much as Onana's made it look like there's been chances, I don't think he's had to, apart from the one from the corner, he's not made that many good saves in this game.
Interesting, got a free kick here from high feet on Endo.
You got to commend Man United just to get it to half-time, 0-0 in this.
I don't know, because look, when you're looking at team for team, it's probably a similar level of value. It's just one have been performing so badly that we give them a free pass, and kind of. I kind of thought like people. I know the 7-0 sort of played in our minds ahead of this game, but this is exactly what I thought it would be. Just like the Newcastle game of zero ambition and pray for the best.
I think Endo's unlucky to get yellow card. Everyone just see that. Like, if you're going on about who's in the unnatural position. Amrabat's in the unnatural position.
Officials are scared of Anfield. We know this.
Did you see the red card against for Newcastle yesterday?
Raúl Jiménez?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's the one who's broken his skull. He should know better than fucking flying him a karate kicks into someone's head. You know what I mean? Like,
it was Eric Cantona RS, but he kind of pulled it in the last second, and then his hip smashes into the head of Lundstad.
So idiotic.
It's like his arse in his head.
I was going to say he Rikishi'd him. Straight.
Show it is. I've seen Raúl get sent off in the first half before for Wolves against Man City away. Biggest game, most hardest game of the season. 2 fucking yellow cards inside a minute. Got sent off for half time. He's an idiot.
We were quite lucky in that game, Newcastle, because to be honest, we weren't playing great. I didn't think we had a great, but we did what we had.
Considering Fulham's form, though, good win. Like Fulham, what was it? 14 goals in 3 games or something like that. Fulham
We've conceded 9 in our last 3, so I'm like,
it was like a 16 swing in the goal difference between Newcastle and Fulham before we lead up to it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Lewis Miley.
Yeah.
What do you make of him, mate?
Well, you know, I feel like I came across badly earlier when I was like, he shouldn't be in the team. I felt like I was slagging him off. No, he's been amazing. He's living his life. Like as a 17-year-old, to take on the pressure of filling in for Tonali in the last month or so, like 2 months, like he's slotted in as if he's got the maturity of a 29-year-old. Like he's 17 years old, and he looks about 12 as well. Like unreal.
He really does look. It's like very obvious. Like this is a kid right now.
Yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes has been singing in his praise, saying, "I can't believe how good he is. When I was his age, I was shite." And
Joe, it is though. I don't want to put too much pressure on him because I remember Matty Longstaff. I thought a similar thing when he came in. I know he's a bit older. He wasn't 17. He's like 19 or whatever. But like, I don't want to heap too much pressure on him. Say he's going to be like an absolute star, and then he get.
I disagree.
But do you not think with Longstaff? With Longstaff, do you not think it was more like moments why you had those feelings?
Yeah.
Whereas actually with Miley, it's actually how he played. I'm not saying Longstaff wasn't good, but obviously I can't remember who it was. There was a few key moments.
Man United, I know.
Yeah, Man United. There's a few key moments. Whereas with Miley, I look at him and I'm like, mate, like you're sort of doing what I wanted Enzo to do when he was brought in. He was brought in for 100 mil.
Mate, when
the pass against us, when he threads it through, Isaac gets it out his feet, lovely. Like, but that pass there, I looked at that and I was like, that is literally what I thought Enzo was going to be doing for us.
So some of the stats on the kid. He was 13 when the pandemic started. Just got to throw that out there. Just got to put that out there.
Could be subscriber.
Youngest goal scorer in the Premier League since Makeda in 2009. Premier League youngest goal scorer for Newcastle, youngest assist maker for Newcastle, top 3 youngest Champions League English players along with Foden and Bellingham. And he set up a goal in the Champions League against AC Milan. So I guess in the last, I think it was 4 games or whatever it is, he's got like 2 assists and a goal. Like, but again, perfectly put by Joey. It's the way he is on the ball that's strange. He when the ball comes to him, like many other Newcastle players, they need the shout, man on. He knows where everyone fucking is when he receives the ball, and he always keeps it under control. It's not like he's always threading through balls through. Sometimes he just go backwards, but it's so composed. And that's the strain. That's why I'm looking at him going, you could be world class. I don't know if you're going to be. That's up to you. Do you want to work hard or not? But you have the ability at 17 that 99% of footballers do not have. And you're both footed. Like I've seen him whip crosses in on his right and go, oh, he's right footed. And then I see him hit it with his left and it's like pinging it. And I'm like, what foot are you?
Yeah, my only worry with him though, before he turns 20, I want to see him starting games on a regular basis. And if we want to go, we want to go. I don't know, man. I don't know if we start with a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid next season.
What about Manchester United back in the day, though? When they had the class of '92, one of the reasons some of those players progressed is because they had Eric Cantona and Roy Keane and high-level footballers around. Like, if he's playing next to Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali and players of that caliber, Isak or whatever, you're going to learn as much as you can.
Would you not send him on a loan, though?
Like, no way.
You wouldn't at all?
No way. It was better bringing on young players in the Premier League right now than Eddie Howe.
Well, yeah, I know, but I don't know, man. If we want to get into the challenging for like league titles in the next few years, like...
When did he let us down, though? We played Paris Saint-Germain. He tackled Mbappe.
Yeah.
He intercepted. Yeah. He reads the game. This is another thing I've got to say. His reading of the game, because he's got these big long legs, because he's fucking 6'4" or whatever, and he's 17. He manages to intercept the ball at a rate that's unusual for a young lad like that. Like he sees passes coming, and then a bit like Bellingham. Like it was one time I'm going to compare it to Bellingham. Fuck me. But you know, Bellingham's massive, and he can just put his big fucking leg out and carry the ball.
So would you have? Would he be a starter for you then?
I wouldn't start him, but what I would do is I'd give him a lot of football, a lot of second halves, a lot of substitutions, cup football, and then eventually, because let's face it, what do Newcastle struggle with this season? Injuries, man. Like, we need to rotate players. He will develop it by, like, when you're good enough, you're old enough. Michael Owen was playing first team football at 18. What's to say next year, Tonali might come back and realise his place is gone and he's got to start and fucking try and displace this kid.
I just think if you give him to like an Ipswich or someone who play good football and they'll be up next season, like he'll be playing every minute of every game next season.
You can't kick this kid out of the Champions League. Like he's, as you say, he's tackled Mbappe. You can't send that. Also, and I know what you're saying. I mean, and listen, you watch that team a lot more than I do. From what I've seen, he's playing a lot better than Tonali was. He's doing a lot of things Tonali weren't doing.
I know, man, but it's been like what 2 months?
You know,
2 months of this, like
that's as much as Tonali.
If you're talking about talent, right? Like in terms of pure raw talent. And raw isn't the right word for him because he doesn't look raw. But like, why on earth would he be out of the conversation for a starting place? And that, like, competition for places is when Newcastle were at their best. Like when players were worried about Longstaff displacing them in the mid part. I think he could easily be starting games if people aren't on their game.
Look, you could be right. He could be a future Bellingham, and he could be like a future Warstad. In which case, yes, keep him in the team. But he could also be just a really quality English midfielder who's doing his thing, but needs game time, man. Like when we go on a bad run, like even he's been in the team for the last 2 months. He's done really well, but we haven't been perfect at all. You know that we've lost.
Yeah,
games.
but like if Liverpool had sent, I mean, I don't know if they did, but I'm going to shoot myself in the foot if they did. But like I look at Steven Gerrard and the position Steven Gerrard plays, and I certainly don't think that Miley is going to be Steven Gerrard. But he's a similar position, and what they did was they played him regularly. They gave him lots of football. They got him to understand the games of the players who he's going to be playing around with as long as possible. And if you were comparing Steven Gerrard at Miley's age, I'd be fascinated to see the difference in them, because I've not seen a lad with this level of quality at 17 before in the Premier League.
If you didn't know his age, if you're just watching the game, you're not even having a conversation about potentially talking about the team. But obviously it's relevant because we do know his age. But like I say, when we're talking about young players, one thing that young players can always often produce is like moments of individual brilliance. We're talking about Makeda there, right? What's he done since? But he did produce moments of individual brilliance, and obviously the game against Villa, I think it was the next game against Sunderland, he scored again. What Miley's doing, he's having good moments, but he's ticking the game over, and that's the main thing that you're thinking. Like mid-20s, you start doing that sort of thing.
Like Carrick used to do that sort of shit when he was in his prime. You know
so
what I mean?
you're showing this already, then sky's the limit, really. And I also think that it's again a very, very good thing. And I've said this about like Conor Gallagher in Chelsea's midfield. It's a very good message when you're building a club that ultimately probably will end up attracting superstars and stuff like this. It's a very good message for the training ground and for the work ethic amongst the team to go, this kid costs nothing and he's in the midfield and he's starting at the moment. So this is basically telling everyone here, leave your ego at the door, because I don't care what you came in for. If you're not, and obviously at the moment it's because of a bit of an injury crisis he's playing, but if you're not up to it, I'll pick whoever's best for the job, rather than just thinking, right, I'm going to pick you because of the price tag you've come in for, or you're standing in the game. I think it sends a good message, and I think it keeps a lot of players on board as well. It helps the young players be pushing on in training as well, to know that Lewis Miley's in the team, so there's every chance I can get in there. It's not just that there's superstars here and I'm never going to break in.
That's how you keep academy players as well. Next time you get another one, and you're going to have more of them because you've got Dan Ashworth there.
His brothers in the academy.
And you want to keep them. You want to keep those players, and that's how you do it. I mean, the thing is, I think as a midfielder as well, you're kind of fortunate there, because it's a position on the pitch where you can come in and out a bit. It's always hard with strikers. When you got a young number 9, what do? Because you can't just move Haaland out of the way to give someone else games, but then what do? Because they need to play football, exactly like you say. I remember Fabregas at Arsenal. He had a couple of seasons where it was him, Vieira and Gilberto. And if ever one of them wasn't fit, he would play. If both of them are fit, you don't play. There are certain games where he plays at a Bergkamp and he plays more of a 10. As a midfielder, you can kind of mould them in and out, move them around a little bit. I think it's more fortunate than a 9, a centre-back, where it's a lot harder to blood someone, because suddenly you're on your own, mate. And if you make a mistake, that's the end of the game.
That's such a good point about Fabregas. If there was a player who was an unreal young player, it was him.
17, same age.
I must admit, that's where you might have me beat in terms of like who was the ultimate 17-year-old midfielder in the Premier League that I've seen. But
I wonder what's okay. Have a look at Miley then. Ahead of the Euros, maybe? I don't know. Like a cheeky call.
Well, there is a spot there, isn't there? Yeah. Like exactly more or less where Lewis Miley's playing. There is a spot there because you can name most of the team, but there's that one remaining spot in midfield where we go, does he play Calvin Phillips even though he's getting no game time? Does he play Henderson even though he's playing in a substandard league? Does he play Gallagher? And there's that spot there, isn't there? So Lewis Miley could be in with a shout, but I think the man picking who goes in that spot is the reason why we won't see Lewis Miley.
It's a shame, because I think, like you say, mate, it's like you know the top and bottom of that midfield. The bottom of it is Rice, the top of it is Bellingham. And when you think how professional they both are, obviously Bellingham's so young, but they're both like the big body, strong midfielders. Like you kind of could sneak. I mean, also, how physical would that midfield be, by the way? Bellingham.
They're all 6'4", 6'3".
Jesus Christ, that's terrifying.
Actually, when I look at those guys, and I look at Louis Miley, who's obviously 17, no one's at their full strength of that. I think you need to look at them lads and go, I need to get in the gym, get my diet right, because it's the modern day beasts on like that's who he has.
That's what
he hasn't got the strength yet, but he's got the frame. And when he scored, I mean, as a Newcastle lad myself, I fucking like it was an extra bit of fuck me, I love this kid. Like, I'm so happy for him. Do you know what I mean? Like, to say because of how he looks, he looks like fucking Harry Potter's age, for Christ's sake. Like, you're so happy for him because he is that age. Do you know what I mean? And God knows what his mum and dad are going through right now.
Born in 2006, isn't it?
He was born. Oh my god.
Born in 2006.
That 13 at the start of lockdown stat. That's
So hang on. So when
man, that's
so
crazy.
Fabregas was already in the Arsenal team when Miley was born. Then that's how far we go. That's how recent he was fucking born. 2 years after you last won the league.
The Fabregas comparison of bringing Fabregas through in a cultured midfield where you're going to learn how to dig in and spray the ball. That's the type of thing that we need to learn from Joel and Bruno Gimmerish and all that to bring this kid on. But he's got everything.
The only thing is, I don't even really believe this. I'm just saying it. Fabregas in the team at that age, he's a great player, 100% great player. Didn't that coincide with Arsenal just stop winning everything? You know,
that wasn't his fault though, was it?
It wasn't.
That was the level that Arsenal were at, which is where we are now, really.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
I think, I get what you're saying. I think it's an unfortunate thing that he did also come at the time when we moved stadiums, ran out of money.
Not just that, Jose came in and the money Chelsea was there. These lot.
Chelsea took it.
It was these lot disrupted the apple cart.
Just minding my own business there. I get pulled into it.
I'm just saying, Chelsea upset the apple cart of the whole Fergie Wenger thing.
I think less of a kind of did we fall apart when Fabregas come in. The way I think about it is how bad would we have been if Fabregas didn't come in. If we didn't have Fabregas in that era between 2004 and 2010, what were we, man?
I also think
genuinely.
I also think just on the Lewis Miley thing, we got to manage the expectation a bit. Like we don't want to just put too much pressure on him.
I've actually lost it.
No, you got to manage it. Right. You don't want to do it because we've seen that with young players. You know what I mean? And then the pressure's on their shoulders. Either one, the pressure's on their shoulders, and they capitulate, or it gets to their head and the ego gets a bit too inflated.
You've seen it well.
You've got to just manage them right.
I'm worried about the England caller for that reason. I hope they don't get him because I just think, what if something happens like there's a Beckham moment for England and he fucking destroys his confidence or whatever? Like, just keep him.
He's in the under-19s right now. I'm saying he's in the England under-19s. Just do what he needs to do there.
New England manager's going to come after this tournament. Things will change. Like I think we all kind of know that Southgate's going to pick his favourites. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be his little victory lap where Maguire plays every game.
Who do you think he does pick in that third midfield spot?
Right now, if I was to put money on it, Hendo.
Could you?
Genuinely, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy. But who else is
I
it?
remember, not that he's not as good a, obviously, Henderson's a better player than who I'm about to say, but he was picking Connor Cody a lot, wasn't he? And then, obviously, Connor Cody drops down to the Championship, and Southgate said in his own words, he said, I can't pick him now because, obviously, the league he's playing
And he
is too
looks
low
gutted. He looks gutted.
And it's like, what? The Championship's not better than the Saudi League. Like, the Championship pieces all over the Saudi League in terms of quality. I know you've got individual stars, but pound for pound.
Is it not a very easy solution? Get Foden off the wing and put him in that midfield three with Bellingham and Rice.
Tried it. It really worked.
Do you know who Southgate should pick? Just on his philosophy, this isn't what I think. It's if I'm looking at it through his eyes, there's an obvious person who brings solidity, strength, decent player, Sean Longstaff. Serious.
I mean,
Gallagher.
yeah.
Nah, he's gonna go Conor Gallagher.
I'm not even bantering it. He's Conor Gallagher.
He's gonna go
on those things. Again, if you said to me it could work and we put Foden there, yeah, of course, I'm not going to give Conor Gallagher a shout ahead of him. But if you're going on the sort of attributes that you just said, I do.
I think Conor Gallagher's more talented than Longstaff, but I think he's far more ambitious and therefore leaves holes at the back. If you look at Newcastle's record with Longstaff, without him. The amount of wins, and that's when you realise, fuck me, and it's because he's a grafter, and what you want is someone who isn't going to take away from Bellingham and isn't going to try and outshadow Rice in his position, who is just going to do all of the shit that no one wants to do. And as much as I never thought I'd say this, because I, for a long time, didn't really rate Longstaff that much, what he's done for Newcastle, I can't dispute. Like, we win more games with him, and I know with England, he would just help us win games by doing that shit that no one wants to do.
Who would you have there?
Who would I have? Again, I don't know why you can't just mould Foden into a number 8. Why is
Do you really believe? Did you see Foden yesterday?
Let's say if you're
or number 10, make Bellingham the number 8. Are you doing that? 4-2-3?
No, if you're Southgate, you're playing a midfield 3 and you know what Southgate wants from his players, what he wants from his system. So you've got to pick someone that instead of being, say for example with Foden, we know that he doesn't really feel that Foden does the right job for him there. So I think you're looking at Gallagher, maybe a Longstaff, although he doesn't really get a call up, does he? Eze.
Will it be Phillips though?
I love Eze, man. I've got to say that I would love to see that. I'd really like to see
That's
that.
a fair show.
For me, that would be the most exciting idea if you could do Eze right.
That's why it won't happen.
Yeah. No, you're 100%.
Because it's exciting, right? Like it's a bit risky and it's a bit, you know.
Gets people excited. Fuck that.
Yeah, no chance. No chance. People might end up watching England. Yeah. No, I think if.
I will say,
well, thank you for joining us here at Signal Iduna Park, a must-visit stadium for any football
See,
fan.
now we're like on the border of it's just never going to happen. But if we didn't have sort of a bit of a weakness in that area of the pitch, Stones has done it for City, and it's never going to happen, is it?
The thing is, the way Bellingham plays now,
again, Trent falls into that same little bit as like Foden for me in terms of very different players, but I just don't think Southgate trusts him. I don't think Southgate trusts Foden to be
My name's Guy Mowbray, delighted to be joined by Sue Smith for commentary, and we have squad battles action for you. What are we going to get from this one, Sue?
Well,
thanks, Guy. I can't wait for this one today. The atmosphere is buzzing, and I'm hoping the football lives up to it.
I find the idea of Trent in an England shirt in the midfield quite exciting.
Here's how the home side lines
Who
up.
lays it off to?
Nick Pope is the goalkeeper. João
by the
Cancelo
defender.
starts with David
Liverpool
Brown
put it
in
on
the fullback
quickly in the
positions.
second half.
Bukayo
Then we had the
Saka
crossing.
starts with Rafael
Good
Leao in the
defending
wide
from
positions.
Amrabat there.
And up
Man
front,
United do
Kylian
well, yeah, they
Mbappe
just flood
plays
in the box with
alongside
white shirts
Antoine
and
Griezmann.
cleaning up.
They're not giving Højlund a sniff as well. I feel
Well, what a
sorry
place
for him,
to
man.
lose
He's
the
in
ball
no
just
man's
when the
land up
chance
top.
was on.
No service.
Amrabat
Well,
is
you can tell what the
wrestling
fans
Mo
think of
Salah
that
here. Like,
decision.
that's not
They're certain that it should have been a penalty.
In behind, can he
I would hate
finish?
to be a Man United fan this season because
And
people might
that
think
is
that's
a
Richard,
terrific
you're the
stop.
team
Oh,
attempting
his
to lead. But I tell
positioning
you what,
is
they've given me some
spot on.
exciting
Really
moments,
makes it
man.
difficult for the
My
attacker.
team have given me some
Stops
exciting
an almost
moments
certain goal there.
win, lose or draw for good or bad. But with Man United, it's like you go and
Over
watch
it
them
comes.
against one of the biggest
That's
rivals
not
in
properly
Liverpool.
away
And
yet.
okay, things could change here, but for the most part, you're just watching your team
For
with
the
a
lead
leg
here.
behind the ball in
And
their
that's
own
a
half.
decent
So
save. At least
that's
certainly
why
made to
You
look that way.
don't think a 4-3 defeat at Copenhagen was exciting? No, back up.
The Andy Tate video that went viral.
This could be
The
it.
reason why he
Oh,
was
it's
so
still in
miserable,
there.
because you're thinking, why are you this miserable? You're 7th, 6th, it's not the end of the world, but it's he can see what's going on here. The bigger picture, and a lot of content creators don't seem
Here's
to be
the
able to see
lineup
it,
for
but he
Arsenal.
can. He's like,
Mike
this
Maignan is in
fucked.
goal.
And like,
Giovanni
Newcastle
Di
and Man
Lorenzo
United, to your
starts
point,
with Federico
finished bottom
Di
of the
Marco in
Champions
the
League groups.
fullback
But the
positions,
way we
and they're
experienced
playing
it
with
was so
two
different. And look,
strikers
maybe
in
it's because we're
attack.
never in the Champions League, but that 4-1 win against
Now, there
PSG
might be a chance
was
as they
unreal.
keep it
That
moving.
performance against PSG away when we were up was unreal. Like we made a huge
Those in the
effort
middle
against
won't be
AC
happy
Milan
about
away
that
from home.
service.
Man United, they were shit throughout. I've only seen Man United have one good game this season.
Remember, you're in a
Lovely
group,
weighted
you're in a
pass.
group of death as well.
Yeah,
And
Martinez.
even then, let's call it for what it was. They weren't that good against Chelsea.
No,
They were
Jimmy
less shit than Chelsea. We were rubbish. They weren't great, but we were worse.
Yeah, goes a bit of a nightmare.
Bro, even against Everton,
Matt Hummels.
they beat Everton 3-0. Everton should have fucking got a draw at least out of that game. They're a
And a good
fascinating
tackle
team to
results
watch this
in a
season
throw-in.
in terms of like almost like a social experiment of how bad you can be and still manage to pick up some points.
Without the points deduction, I think we're Everton about a point off.
Their point
David
below
Brown.
Sean Dyche.
What is this Andy Tate thing there for stock? He's like a proper like bad fan cam or something?
Antoine
No, he
Griezmann.
had a review of the game where he was
Good
just
work to
really
win it there.
devastated. And like, obviously,
No forward
you know, when you've
pressure,
seen your
they're
team
waiting
get
to be
relegated
attacked.
multiple times, like many fans have, it can seem to be
I thought he was on house arrest in Romania or something.
No, that's the other one. this is the Andy Tate who's
Good
not the
pressure
traffic
is high
police.
up the pitch.
But no, look, I rate it
Decent
because
move,
it was
look
raw,
to be
it was a
building,
great, it was a
but
great
that's it
video
for
by
now.
him, but equally, it's because the writing's on the wall and
And
you
over
can
the
see
touchline
like
it goes, it'll
they're
be a
fucking
throw-in
going
now.
around.
I think it's pathetic. I'm just crying. Your team's like 7th in the league. Like you're nowhere near it. Alright, times are bad, but fucking hell, you're 7th in the
Bellingham.
league.
Yeah.
Alright, you finished bottom of the Champions League group, you still was in the Champions
Well,
League.
he's been going
and
through
you're
for a while.
crying. Like,
It was
try
bad
being
for
a
boys.
Luton fan. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
They're also holding 2 trophies.
Benassa.
They don't stop going on about it. They won
Put
2
them ahead.
trophies last season.
Back up the post.
What's the second?
What's the other one?
They won.
I won the League
A
Cup.
bit of
What
a
are you doing?
disappointing end to the attack.
Sorry,
Yeah.
They won the league.
What are you
Yeah.
crying? Like
Genuine
crying?
chance.
Where's he crying?
Serious?
And
Was
still
he crying?
danger
He
here.
wasn't crying, but he was just miserable. But yeah.
Dybala.
But I'll
Great
be
chance here.
listen.
And
I
it's
know
a decent
I love
stop by the
watching Man United as
goalkeeper.
well. I've got so many Man United friends that are just
Well, maybe an
annoying,
opportunity
right?
to get
But
their
they're
noses
doing
in front
all right.
with this
I'm not saying
corner.
they're playing good football. They're not. Liverpool
Corner
are
kick
battering
played
them,
in.
but they're missing
Oh,
so many
yes.
key players.
I
That's
think
how
the
to
hope
make
is
your
what kills
mark
people
in
though, and I
game
think with
1.
Ten
A
Hag,
debut goal.
a lot of them bought into the hype,
Off we
and that's
go
why
at
he's still
1-0.
getting supported now because a lot of them are like, I've said this much, I can't turn back now. I know what I mean?
I wasn't talking about the bigger picture, by the way. I'm talking about just this game.
Yeah.
But even in the bigger picture, to give credit where it's due, you've been really bad this season, and you still haven't been completely pulled away from in terms of if things start to go well, if these injuries that, to be honest, we're seeing most of these guys come back. They do come back.
For the first half. It's finally poised, Sue. Are they deservedly in front?
But what I'm saying, if there's a miraculous uplifting form, they're within touching distance still. They can still be on for top four. I'm at a point now where we could go on a
I'm just saying, I don't know how much better they are if they have Martinez in there, Casemiro is available, Mount's
Need to get tighter here.
A shit few games earlier this season before he got injured, but he is a better defender than what they've got on.
Yeah.
Well, that's hugely frustrating for the coach and the players.
Yeah, but they're missing Maguire, and he's been big for them after, you know.
Yeah, but if Martinez is fit, it's Martinez.
And the game restarts.
I've got a question for you about Chelsea, lads. They did manage to win the other day. Unfortunately, Reece James suffered another injury after being made captain, and there's been a lot of jokes about him working from home, sort of like furlough.
Crowd urging him to shoot.
There is a worry there because this guy was one of the most talented right backs
what a
we've
game
ever
this
seen
is
as a
turning
young
out
age.
to be.
And there's danger of him becoming the next Jack Wilshere. What are we saying about the future of Reece James and where do you think it's
moving the
going
ball
to go with
forward.
him?
What can they do from here?
A little bit less active
Drifting
than
in
Jack
off the
Wilshere,
flank.
to be honest. I remember there was times when Jack Wilshere was going through it and putting
Renata.
up, but he was still having. Put it this way,
Saved but not clear.
Reece James has
And
not
it's
started 3
saved,
matches
and
in a
the
row
danger
since
is now over.
2021.
You can see how
we're nearly in
pleased he was to
2024
get
now.
hold of
So
that after what was
obviously
a
it's really not
superb
good. And
first
it's
save.
massively
It's good goalkeeping
The
that.
main thing is, I think people from outside
looks like
Chelsea's
a good
fan base
advantage play.
will say, the Chelsea fans
Saka.
must be. Reece James don't choose to
Excellent
be
reading
injured,
of the
mate. I'm
game
sure
to
he'd be
win
on
the
the
ball.
pitch if he could do. Obviously, there's a real underlying
Ria.
issue with these problems he's got. And the surgery, again, another very simple
Paulo
thing to go is,
Dybala.
well, he should just have the surgery. We're always about him anyway. Why not just have the surgery? But you've heard people that are a lot more knowledgeable in this field than I am
take
come
the
out and
lead.
say it's not as simple
Unable
as
to
have the
find
surgery
anyone
and
with
your
that.
career's back on track. Some people that require the surgery that Reece James is being advised to maybe have don't end up
Martinez.
walking properly after that.
I think your point there with Sven Botman's recent injury in Newcastle, they've opted out of surgery to hope he could recover without needing it because it is such a game changer for the game for them.
Yeah.
But is there also, because I've seen people talk about it, the
That
fact that he
was a
rushes
good
back,
tackle, and we could
and maybe he
see a
should
card
take
show.
more time to kind of bed himself back in because he's so eager to play. He's a Chelsea boy. He wants to help the team. I've heard that he kind of rushes back when really he needs to kind of just sit out and let the recovery process really take its place.
Definitely. Like if you said to me now,
It's
he'll
a
be ready
lovely
by
ball. There might
March,
be something
and I
building
could
now.
have the option of going, let's just literally write the season off. Yeah, we're not going to be a completely different position if
This
Reece
looks a
James is in the
promising
team
move from
as to
Arsenal.
whether he's out. Although I do think he's our best player
Dealt
when
with,
fit
but
and
it's not
available.
away
So
yet.
if I could take the option now and say just sits out the rest of this season, then I think it's a smart decision. Also, when you say about him rushing back, there's evidence to support the opposite of that. He turned down the
Advantage
England
played,
call
no
up,
free
didn't he?
kick.
Gareth Southgate wanted him to come away with England. He said, I want to stick to my rehabilitation. So I think
Dybala,
it's an
what a
easy thing to
chance.
level at him, which I
It's
have in
in,
the past.
and
But
that's
there
a
is the
debut
evidence to say he's not
goal,
rushing
kicking
back.
off with his
Maybe
new club
this is just
in
the way it
just
is.
the right
I know it's a
way.
completely different thing. This is through the cartilage in his knees, but a tactical genius here. I wouldn't mind seeing a position change for Reece as well.
Let's run it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him in centre mid. Like he played there
What's
for
into the
Wigan.
middle?
Chelsea, Wigan were about like for like at
Down
the
by
moment.
one, but they have a
played
corner
there for
now.
Wigan. Obviously, he was very good there.
Well, it's the
He's
first
actually-
chance that
he
they've
came
had
on
in a
against
while,
Arsenal
and the
to
crowd
better
are
centre in
sensing
that
this
game.
is a
So,
great
The level of
opportunity.
running a right
They're
back
really
has
getting
got to be
behind
there with
them.
the most in any position in
And it's a
football.
short
But not
one.
just that. When I look at Reece James,
Good cross into the middle.
obviously watch loads of different athletics
And
sports.
away it goes.
And the guys who are that muscular, they're carrying probably more weight than
There's space
is
out wide
optimal
now
for
for
their
Arsenal.
frame in terms of like the sport he's doing is fucking running mainly. I look at someone like a Kamaru Usman in the
pretty good
UFC,
save
who's sort
by
of
the
similar
keeper.
build, and he had problems with his knees and basically got to a point where he couldn't train, as you've just said, in terms of running and stuff like that, and he just had to save himself for the event. How good can your cardio be when you're doing that?
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Over
Because
it
when you
comes.
speak about cardio
And
there,
away from danger it
look at
goes.
the game he had against Manchester City. Like, I got banned for it, but he had Doku in his pocket in that game.
One of the best fullbacks in the world.
Good form
Oh, here we go.
at that time.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Oh, what a tackle! Going up, Joe. Loses it.
Well, as soon as they won the ball back, there was an almighty roar. The fans are trying to push the team forward and get an equaliser.
Good job you didn't say that.
They wouldn't have got the opportunity of breathing on the pitch. No, but like, all honesty, just from a Chelsea, I can only give you like an emotional, attached opinion on it. It's just heartbreaking, man, because we're looking at a player and we're like, you've been made the club captain. Yeah, we all know, with all the investment, all the money we've spent, you're still the best player in our team. And not only are you the best in our team, you've come through the academy, and it means so much more when that's the case. So it's just gutting. If I had to put my money on it now, do we ever see Reece really starting what, 3rd game of the season or something? On the track record, you'd have to say no, wouldn't you? Which is...
At
what point do you have to move on? Like, I look at that Chelsea team and I think you've got him one side, Chilwell the other. Chilwell's injury record is no better than Reece James.
Great bit of goalkeeping.
At what point do you have to say with at least one of them, we can't keep doing this. You can't sit on whatever $200 grand a week. And at the start of each season we go, well, we hope you're going to start when we know you're not.
When you mention the wages, that's very valid. In terms of actually personnel, we sort of have moved on. And I'm not saying that Malo Gusto is a better player than Reece, or a better option than Reece. But I tell you what, Malo Gusto as a right-back option if Reece James isn't there, if you compare it to the players we've got, I'm not saying the grand schemes, but if you compare it to the age profile of the players we've got, Malo Gusto's not a bad one. If you look over at the other side,
and the
we signed
whistle wraps up a match that's gone the way of the
like that. So if you're prepared to spend that sort of money, you better hope that that is an alternative to Ben Chilwell.
It's a real professional performance, and I think they deserve the result.
Liverman from the Chelsea academy.
Mate, he'd have been perfect.
Bro, since
he can play either side as well.
He's one of the best fullbacks at a young age I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, the first thing I thought was, you look like a Pep Guardiola fullback. You are the complete fucking player. You can do it all. He's been setting goals up. He's been making last-ditch tackles. He's got an older head on his shoulders.
Smart player.
If Reece James is fit and available, there's a conversation. I'd still edge towards Reece James, but there's a conversation if both boys are at the club.
Hello, it's great to be with you, and I don't think anybody is going to complain, especially about the weather. My name is Derek Ray, excited to be bringing you match commentary, and alongside me, my broadcasting partner, Stuart Robson. And if this game lives up to its billing, we're in for a riveting occasion. It's Internacional versus Arsenal.
Yes, thanks as always, Derek. We've got two good teams here, so I'm anticipating a really good game.
It makes Southgate's decision a little easier. Remember Euro 2021 was definitely nice. It was either Reece James was in because he just won the Champions League, or Kyle Walker was in. He played them like one played against Scotland and
he played Reece against Scotland.
Yeah, and then back to Walker.
And the starting 11 for Internacional.
So at least it makes it a bit easier for Southgate.
Well, for a while, everybody played with a 4-4-2, and it can still be a very good system, but it does rely very much on your front two getting the better of their markers, and the wide midfield players being good in 1v1 situations. Let's hope they play it well today.
Any top player, we're not going, because in this game it's brilliant, or because in the Champions League final. You need a back
Mike Mignon begins in goal. Xavi starts alongside Ismael Benacer in central midfield, and leading the attack today, Lautaro Martinez plays alongside Paulo Dybala.
And then comes back, takes one game normally, takes about one game to get back up to speed, and then becomes probably one of your best performers in the team.
Well, if you're the opposing defender, you've really got to keep a weather eye on Erling Haaland. What are you expecting to see from him in this game, Stuart?
Well, Derek, we know he's got great pace, whether he's running with the ball or running in behind defenders, and that's what makes him such a threat on the counter-attack, and I'm sure that's going to be the tactics today for his team.
His injury issues, so at the minute, no, he's probably not going to be able to fulfil that potential, but if you're just going on about his talent, easily good enough to be right up there as one of the best in the world.
United just holding on, man.
Splendid defending, and it needed to be. Working brilliantly as a team to force the clearance. It will be a throw.
Man United have done exactly what they did in Newcastle.
Opportunity to deliver the cross.
Newcastle were actually breaking the door down.
Oh yeah.
Liverpool are working the goalkeeper. What we said at the start of the game was, on our shit, work it, make them make saves. Liverpool have made this far too easy on Manchester United.
Good bit of defending.
You know, the argument is there of like, are Liverpool good enough, even though they're at the top of the league, to continue and actually pull this off?
Right-looking attack.
And games like this are where you've got to prove it. And they have kept doing that this season. Whenever it was last seconds or they've managed to overcome struggles.
And Man United are really going to keep a clean sheet at Anfield.
They don't even...
With Johnny Evans in the field.
That's the thing. Liverpool don't look close to scoring right now.
But this is the thing about Liverpool. The main, like... the concentration talent in their squad is in that forward line, and this is you can kind of see what's going to happen now. They're going to change that forward line a little bit. United obviously look tired. Varane's got no legs left. Johnny Evans is about 42.
Is that Gakpo?
Think about changing it. Apart from Gakpo, though,
Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Well, that's a really good authoritative tackle.
Harvey Elliott to come on.
Harvey Elliott's look good when he comes off the bench. So him and Gakpo could turn it around.
Well, it's a pretty low line at the moment.
This is beautiful. I want to draw, and the reason I want to draw is because if Liverpool drop points here, who have they got next?
It's gone in!
Arsenal.
A significant deflection.
It's Arsenal and Liverpool next week. And if they drop points here, that means they have to be on here against Arsenal next week. Where is it? Anfield next week as well?
Is it Anfield? Late kick-off on a Saturday, last Saturday before Christmas. Every Scouser in Liverpool pissed off his nuts.
Yeah, 23rd of December, Christmas Eve.
Are you sure you want a Man United win? Like,
now attacking possibilities for Internacional.
If they drop points, they're going to be up for it against you.
Man, they'll be up for it. I mean, look, if they win, if they beat United today, they're top of the table, and we turn up next week and they go, right, declaration time. Let's put 3 points above Arsenal. Let's announce ourselves as champions.
How did you do it after last season? Like, the hoodoo gone? Did you just go to get back?
We drew. Yeah, we drew that game. 2-0 up. Yeah, we were 2-0 up.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was one of the.
Into the meat of the penalty area.
He kept us in that one. That was it was one of the few in the run-in where it wasn't his fault that we threw it away. Yeah, he was incredible that day, man. The hoodoo isn't quite gone yet, but we should have won it there. Look, going into next week, the one thing that's I think has been interesting with Liverpool today. I look at their midfield, I'm not convinced at all. I think Summerside's had a really quiet game, and when he has got in the box, he's not looked convincing. I don't think Endo progresses the ball well enough. I think if there's a place on the pitch you can beat that Liverpool team, it's midfield.
And the managers will now deliver their half-time.
Declan's going to go up there and just dominate.
Well, there's rumours Partey's fit. There's rumours Partey's going to come back for that game. But I mean,
Arsenal with the lead going into the second half, but no room for complacency.
I think Havertz has now been good enough that you go, okay, you keep things as they are. I love the idea of a Partey, Rice, Ødegaard midfield.
Yeah,
so same midfield we played in Community Shield. That in big games. I love that.
Is Havertz off fraud watch now?
Yeah, he's been playing well. I've been watching him. I've had him on player cam. He's been playing well.
No,
he's been playing well for Arsenal. I've actually been analysing. I think he's been playing well.
He has been playing well. He has been playing well. He's definitely been better.
He's given the ball away.
I find it hard to quantify because you know how Harry Maguire got a lot of plaudits and people were like, didn't he do well? Like, yeah, for a guy who's like not really all there. But like, are we?
Havertz isn't off forward. He's on probation.
Internacional in a position of
he's got the
potential
tag on his ankle. He still might go back in.
So far, 4 goals, 1 assist.
I was
able to get a body in the way.
About him, Joe, I've realised this as an Arsenal fan. You know when he was shit at the start of the season. He's no different now, except he's finishing his chances.
Yeah.
He can't pass a football. I've never seen an attacking midfielder before who can't pass a football. It's mental. He's a great runner, gets around the pitch, really good off the ball. That's what he's techie. I tell you what, he's showing his feet a little bit more now. I think at the start of the season he looked scared to do it.
And time for the change now.
But he's scoring goals.
Are those 4 goals in the league?
Yeah, 4 in the league.
Who can they
He's got more than Jesus in the league.
Yeah, he's got one in the
timing was good,
He's got an
but the
assist in the league.
attempt too
A couple of the
high.
goals have been key moments as well.
Even the one
you think about, obviously,
more games than
it doesn't matter because it was ruled out. But obviously, against Aston Villa, he scored. Was it the equaliser?
And into the last 30 minutes
How do
now.
you view him, Joey? You must have a weird relationship with Havertz. Like, he scored. He should be held up as like a hero in your club's history, right? He scored a winner in the Champions League final, and now he's playing for Arsenal.
They can't stand.
No. Do you know what? Like, Havertz.
Arsenal could threaten from this
Chelsea
position.
fans, for the most part. I mean, Josh don't mind him. We don't really like Mason Mount now. But Havertz isn't one that we really feel like that about.
I don't like Mason Mount.
Well, he's certainly been a
This
threat
is
in this
what I mean.
game.
It's
He's
when they
looked
said
so
it, it's because he
lively.
sold it.
They jumped shit.
The substitution will
He
occur
got offered
now.
about 50
Well,
grand less a
plenty
week
of power
to stay
there,
at
but in
Chelsea.
fairness,
Then he got
should
offered by
have
Man
made the
United.
keeper
Everyone
work.
goes, oh well, you know, Man United.
Come on.
50 grand's a lot of money.
Are there not some things that you just have to make? Like, he's a Chelsea boy who won the Champions League, assist in the final. Like, can you not overlook
Went in
if he
strongly,
moves on like to Man
decisively.
United? Nah.
I could overlook it if, let's say, for example, Chelsea are doing really
It's
well.
all going
And this is just me being honest, by the way. Like, I could dress it up and try and make myself look better. I get that anyone that's not a Chelsea fan thinks you're a massive knob when I'm saying this, yeah? But I'm just being honest with you. Because Chelsea aren't doing well, it just feels like you're an academy product. I'm telling you now, if Chelsea weren't doing well, John Terry don't jump ship. And that's all I'm saying, you know what I mean? So you're an academy product, you came through, you would have been the captain at this point.
He did flirt with Man City a little bit.
Couldn't make the ideal pass.
Big
opportunity.
Did he? That ain't all he flirted with back to back. Do you not think, though, how much money do you get from Mason Mount? 55 million or so? From the outside, you fucking smashed that. Yeah. From the outside, you did exactly what you should have done with Mason Mount. I think you got his best years.
Wilfried
I know he's at, what is he, 25, 26? Well, let me give you a little stat on that, right? Cole Palmer has now got more open play assists than Mason Mount did in the Chelsea shirt in 97 less games. So
Joey's got a little notepad on.
Listen, records of the
Why don't obscure that?
Notepad, I've got them tattooed on my arm here.
No, mate, I think you've done the right thing, Mason Mount. I think you got good years out of him. I think he looks injury prone now. I think he looks like one of those players that play a bit too much football and they're a bit too young. And what's he done at Man United?
There was Miley.
To answer the question about Havertz, though, I don't think Chelsea fans massively dislike Havertz or anything like that. I think the problem with Havertz, and we do definitely have the sympathy for him, is obviously.
I thought that was it.
Tekkers, man. Trent. Yeah. Look at him. Look at him.
In the crowd.
He loves it. Let's go. He's G'ing up the crowd. I love that.
He looks like their boy today. He does look like the main man today.
Swerve it away.
He's becoming more of a hero for them in this
Trent's having a big season.
advanced role.
have possession again.
One thing I will say though, looking at the
Chance maybe to use their counter-attacking ability to good effect.
Liverpool looks so weak. You don't remember how you'd have Robertson and Mane to worry about one side, Trent and Salah the other.
Good use of advantage. The referee allowing play to continue.
Just
fractionally wide. So unfortunate.
Having a shit game. They're both doing nothing here. Gakpo's come on trying to change it up a little bit, but that left side looks incredibly weak by comparison.
They're getting frustrated now. Swipes like that.
Because they're not able to break this team down, and they're really lacking a bit of a magician. I know Salah's usually that guy.
The referee has decided that 2 additional minutes
when Salah
are in
might
order.
not have been having as good game as Craig's often said about the other
Teammate
two.
available.
One of them would be able to help
And
out.
the keeper
Wasn't
has to deal
Szoboszlai
with
supposed
it.
to be that guy from the field?
He's not doing much.
I know he came off, but
And there it is, the full-time whistle here, and it's a victory.
Marcus Rashford's still not been brought on for Man United.
I was particularly impressed with their play going forward. Really lively, almost.
I'm sure that they'll have reasons for he's not 100%, whatever.
Oh, they're in.
Oh, surely.
Gotta be.
He's got to score.
Oh no! That was the opportunity for Hoyland.
Mate, now he deserves the lead. Now I can't defend him.
He's got to score that. That's a nice one too. There's a bit of football there.
This is what the game plan is all about. Is getting you one chance.
I think Jackson put that away. No.
But you know what? He might have, and that's bad enough. Do you know what I mean?
We're in North London for this one. It's the Emirates Stadium. Guy Mowbray with you for commentary, alongside Steve Smith. And everything is set up nicely to give us a really good match. It's Arsenal, and they take on the team of the
It's a
year.
cowardly thing, in my opinion.
Well, it's a
Just
pleasure
get it on
to be here, and I'm anticipating a good game today. The coaching staff has done all they can. Now it's about taking it onto the pitch.
And then all of a sudden you miss that. You can get off. 14 games in the Premier League so far, and you've not scored.
Joe, that's Peter Crouch territory. We went turn up at Anfield and they didn't score until Christmas. This is I didn't realise it was going to be
the point
Lifted nicely. Oh, just over. So unlucky.
Well, it's an audacious attempt
when you get that one
to
chance
lift it over the keeper, but just gets a little too much on it.
Hit it straight at his chest. Fucking hell. Just to
Here's
be
the
clear on the
lineup for
stats,
Arsenal.
21 shots
Mike Maignan is
to
in
5.
goal. Giovanni
4
Di
on target
Lorenzo
to 2 on
starts
target,
with
which shows
Federico
how
Di Marco in the
wasteful
fullback positions,
Liverpool have
and they're
been
going with
frustrated
2 men
and they've been
leading the
shooting
line.
from
I think they might be
which
in.
were never going to mount
And we haven't had to wait long for the opening goal. It's 1-0.
I actually think that Liverpool are looking
1-0 then as we get started again.
They've made there. Like Salah, you can see has come a little bit more sensible now.
70% possession to 30%. One thing that is interesting about Ten
Able
Hag
to
in
skip
how he's
past his
sort of
man.
downed Rashford is in big games like Bayern Munich and
Pulls
Liverpool.
it back.
Rashford
And it's
usually
there.
turns
The
up
lead didn't last
and
long.
you've not
They're back
started.
level already.
I think for Rashford, look, I know he's
So
just
it's
signed a
1
new
each
deal.
as the game restarts.
But he's got to be thinking, look, if you're going to play Garnacho ahead of me, I'm off soon. Fuck
mate, there's
got to be.
a
He
few.
just signed a new contract.
There's a
Well,
few
what a
there
place
that we
to
think
lose
that
the ball
there'll be a
just
few
when the
there
chance
sort of
was
talking to
on.
agents and going, honestly, do you think Ten Hag goes soon? Because if not, I want to go.
Yeah, well, obviously Casemiro and Varane are linked with moves away to the Saudi League already.
Anthony wants to hope Ten Hag don't go.
That's good football. Good Good tackle from Van Dijk. Man United actually coming back in on the counter-attack.
Penalty given. Can they take the chance
to be
lead?
fair,
It's going to be a booking as well.
If you're, I'm happy to criticise Ten Hag, you know, but like, if they were to nick it, it would be.
Oh! That's good.
That really.
Onana always passes it straight out into like the worst place, doesn't he? Bless him.
We were saying, what was it? The Chelsea game, wasn't it? Onana, like, Cole Palmer, great goal, comes out of nowhere, sort of thing. Me and Brian just looked at each other like,
and they have paid the penalty. It's been dispatched.
It was rolling in, like, you know when the
away we go again. 2-1.
And it was literally like some kid had put it in like that.
And I stopped using that, like, mums.
Andy, what are you gonna do?
Last Ricker.
Here we go.
Because Liverpool are bombing forward, Man United are going to get chances
on the transition. Yeah. I'm going to give Man United their props today. I'm going to give it to them today because they haven't been steamrolled. They actually haven't. Liverpool have been the better team.
The game had only just restarted.
We expected Man United to get pummeled today. Everyone expected them to get pummeled today.
20 minutes.
And they are in the game. They're in the game. Why not could have just nicked them a goal?
But now's where they have to capitalise on it, like, and show some ambition and
possession
there. Whether or not that'll actually pay off. Rashford,
looks like a good advantage play.
Big moment. This could settle well for
him. The game suits him as well. This transition play back and stuff. It really suits him.
This is a scary sub. If I'm a Liverpool defender now, tired of watching these fresh legs come out.
Well, this game 7, 0 goals, 0 assists, 2 shots on target.
You know what, right? The
Can he finish?
If they pull anything off,
and the goalkeeper keeps him out on this occasion.
The comment section.
Does look lively, and you can see that he wants more.
I love it.
And he does produce the yellow.
This for me though, this is where I'm at with Ten Hag. I'm so sure that the bloke's an absolute flop. I'm in Ollie territory with him where I'm like, go on, get yourself another 5 games. Go on.
Hasn't amounted to much.
Like, because it's obvious he's shite.
But then if you look at it the other way, which is definitely not what Man United fans want, we say about them staying in things. In the league, they're technically staying in. They're hanging in there in case something changes. Against Newcastle, they played worse, right? Man United played worse at St James's Park than Chelsea did at St James's Park. You beat us 4-1.
Yeah, it should have been.
You beat Man United 1-0. They played bad in this game. It's 0-0 still.
Do you know
in
what?
the Arsenal game,
you've had ambition. You've tried to beat us.
More than comfortable for the man in goal.
But this is what I'm saying. It's a tiny win if you'd even called it that. But you can admit that one thing Ten Hag's managing to do this season is be bad just about stay in it. Now, it only matters if you stay in it and then you pull something off. And so far this season, they haven't been able to do that. But against Arsenal, in this match, even against City, they didn't get done by like 4 or 5 goals, which your brother played was suggesting they were going to at one point.
Even the games they win. That's how they beat Brentford. They stayed in it and got late winning.
Is the Joe Biden of football manager?
It's amazing. What is the solution? No, I think we asked it the first time. I don't think anyone really gave a manager. Who replaced him? Who gets a tune out of this?
I said De Zerbi.
I agree. I agree.
Honestly, I think the Potter thing kind of makes sense. If they are going after Dan Ashworth, that's the only reason why.
Without an expert manager.
Of saves, but you'd expect him to probably stop that.
The fans won't have patience for
the only reason I say it is Dan Ashworth. If they do get Dan Ashworth,
do you know the day? So it's a bit off topic, but do you know the day I knew that Potter was gone from Chelsea? I knew that you weren't going to be the man for us. We were saying he's too nice. And you know, like managers, I get it in the modern day, like you read stuff and whatnot, but you definitely read in the comments of Potter's too nice, and Potter's got no backbone because he's doing an interview with, I think it was Emma Hayes, and it was at a Chelsea night, and he went,
all for the first half.
Win the fucking Champions League. And the way he said it, was like, mate, that was tragic. It just didn't even suit you at all.
It's such a Brent thing,
underway.
Let's rock.
Nice, am I?
Play the...
I just F-bombed them.
Anthony just lost his shit on someone on his team just now. I don't know who it was. He just started screaming.
This left back, I don't rate. I'm not impressed so far.
He's not. But I'll be real. See today the other side of the game today, and I think this is why he puts in the team because he's such a negative manager. But the defensive side of the game, Anthony does. It's just what they signed him for, he doesn't do. He's shit.
Has to be a booking.
£80 million worth of track back.
And that is a caution.
Well, it's a poor challenge.
Is he just a fullback?
For that.
Who, Anthony?
Anthony,
He's putting some good defensive displays today. I've been watching it, but that's
by
Do you know,
quite
Joe, I
away,
don't think
and
there
would
was
have had to
any
have
Man
been
United
special to
fan when
score
they
from there
slashed out
anyway.
90 mil, whatever it was
Way
on
off
him, that
target,
thought
and
after
that's
a
a
year we're
good
going to be going,
position to test
"You're
the
right."
goalkeeper.
That does
Put it in a
100 step
good
on the
area and let someone
I
attack
was a
it.
bit
His
fooled by it
teammates
at the
certainly
start.
won't
Like,
be
there
happy
was a
with
few
that.
games early on where I was like,
Mate, Arsenal straight
Arsenal
away
moving
came
the
in.
ball forward with real purpose.
and you know when
But
certain
not the
players,
end
I'd
result
have
they
to
wanted
admit, right,
from
I
an
think we're all,
encouraging
like,
position.
we're all subconsciously taking on
Really?
data that we're not realising influences our decision, and one of them is like hairstyle, football boots, like all these little things that we've seen before. Where like, what's this
Oh,
decision?
dear,
Like
nothing
the way
about
he
that was
acts,
right.
the way he
That's a
behaves,
bad miss.
and he had this arrogance and confidence. And I was like, must be fucking good.
Like, remember that fucking, what was it, like the dribble he did in the circle in like a Europa League game where he just drags the ball around? The
Well,
most
of all the
pointless
players
fucking
we're
skill
watching
movement
today,
all day.
would you
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
that
those moments
he's
where I
certainly
think I
got
was
good
just
marks so
affected
far?
by his sort of
Yeah, that's been
persona.
a good
He's
half for
Brazilian
him.
at the end of the day. I
Clinical
know
with
it's
his
hard to
finish,
believe.
but he's maintained an intensity to his
Brazilians are like that, aren't
performance.
they?
He
He's looking to keep
plays
that going in the
Scottish, man.
second
The way he
half.
plays football, he plays like a
What's the-
Scottish
in terms-
They should build up as they look for a way back into this.
In terms of money spent, were he and Mudryk
in the
up there as
tackle,
like
it'll
two
be
of
a
the
throw.
worst transfers of all time in the Premier League? Like, what's that, like 150 between them?
He was more
it's
expensive,
behind
was
for a
he?
corner.
Time, the only thing is because obviously the price of transfer fees, they fluctuate. Like, you know, 50 million doesn't seem like the most at the moment, but Fernando Torres, when he was bought in for 50 million, that was looked upon well.
Does that mean Andy Carroll, the
Short
modern day, would be like,
corner
what, 80 mil? 80 mil?
Oh,
90 mil?
that'd be like 90 mil, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd probably be 100 mils somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Like, they're right.
Reverse ball.
Promising looking ball. What can they do from here?
Don't get a shot away. No, they don't. It's cleared.
Martinez.
It's
It's a
a
this could
three-goal
be-
lead, and the
I'm
win
saying,
almost
it's not good for
guaranteed.
Liverpool. They need to get that goal because I feel like the crowd's going to be getting edgy now.
That was so bad from Anana there. Did you see, like,
Oh, here we go. Don Nunez.
Got a pass.
Touch, and it's in.
Well, we can see it again now,
and
and they're so dangerous in these transitions. The speed of the counter
there, that's
is
completely
really
Anana's fault. He
impressive.
could have
And
kicked it
then once
anywhere.
he's
He just kicked it
through,
straight to the
there's
side
never
and
any
then
doubt,
sprint
was
back to
there?
his goal.
Hits it hard and true, and the keeper just can't
Is
react
this a
in
foul,
time.
lads? I'm just asking the question. I couldn't really.
Liverpool think it is.
It's gone in that fast that it did look like just like a coming together. It did not look like a foul to me.
There was a block there.
All right.
So back
Darwin's
underway,
control isn't
4-1
great
now.
here, but I think it comes to him and it was difficult.
Is that Amrabat?
I mean, ball's going away, isn't it? Anana does
Zinedine
sort of
Zidane.
Great defenders, Dallo.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen fouls get given for after the ball has been played, and like we just sometimes you get them.
Cool
Sometimes you
idea.
don't. Trent ends it back in,
DiMarco.
and this holding.
That is.
Marco.
Oh, it's a pinball
Oh, great chance.
in the corner.
Oh, it's still in there.
Diaz tries to cross to.
It was looking
that's
good,
good.
but
Van
not
Dijk.
all the way through.
Oh!
Martinez.
Skill. Big
And he's
man.
got
Yeah,
the
his
ball
defending
to
is
stop the
comical.
goal.
How have they managed to have that many touches in their box?
This has been comfortable, hasn't it?
doing
That back
pirouettes in their
line
box.
just don't seem to have an answer. There's a real quality when they go forward.
Turn us away from
The
a clean sheet.
movement, the crisp passes. I wonder how many they'll get if they continue with this tempo.
Wow.
I'd have cut it back round at the goalkeeper.
I think Liverpool have totally not
Zidane.
exploited the lack of quality in goal from Onana.
Risa.
Like they've just been too many speculative efforts that weren't like they haven't brought it close enough and forced the
Is
issue.
it
And to be
ever
fair to
closer to
Arsenal,
goal here?
they did a really good job of doing that, breaking you down and just forcing
It was
you
a great
to
chance.
submit to them
Great
earlier.
defending too.
If they don't win, I
It's a
think,
decent
regardless
stop
of
by
occasion,
the
it's a massive
goalkeeper.
opportunity missed, especially with the results.
It comes back again to that thing of like who's going to win this league? Who wants to grab
The
hold of
corner
this and
is
try and
fired
win
in.
this league? It's an interesting one because
does
we've
its
got
work.
Chelsea had a good win.
Nunez
I
off.
think we
Nunez has come off.
Nunez.
I've got to say.
Was that a good game from Nunez? Was that a game that
No.
makes him look like Liverpool's number 9?
But what I will say is Harvey Elliott
Hakan
coming
Çalhanoğlu
on,
early.
he has been a bit of a game changer for them recently. I think Man United should be a bit scared of him in terms of like he's really
Delivered
decent
into the
off the
box.
bench. I don't know
Well,
about
that's how to
starting him,
clear
but
it.
he's full of energy, belief. He's got that like play on the school ground type of attitude of him. But I think he's only 18 or something. And as we're
Hostage.
seeing now, Liverpool have got a lot of goals in the last 15 minutes.
Martinez.
Is it fair to say that
Still
for all
problems
the
for
shots
them here.
Liverpool's had, Man United's had the best
Go out
chances?
to the corner.
Yeah, that one from Højlund straight at...
Højlund should be beating himself up about that later. Like that's not good enough for a player of like what he attempts to be in his career. Like,
even if
I was gonna say quality,
it was
but-
on target, right? It was on
Highest
target, but
quality.
it was worth risking it going off target by just not putting it in the easiest sort of area for the goalkeeper. Don't put it high and straight at him. Put it low.
He made it. You could say what's the easiest shot to save right now? That was it.
And that's the final whistle. A positive result, at least.
There's no one there.
They just couldn't live with him from an attacking perspective. Created lots of opportunities and some good finishes too. It was actually easy in the end.
Was it like...
Trent got him off, didn't he? Southgate's watching that going, no chance.
Yeah.
No chance to get in my back.
Lads, I know there's been a lot of Man United criticism today, but you're not giving a bit of credit though. I mean, the defending has been, pretty decent. When they got Johnny Evans in defence.
I think ultimately though, like,
0-0 at Anfield.
they've played with 11 men behind the ball for a vast majority of the game.
I don't know well.
But they have done all right, yeah. I think it's a combination of they've been dedicated and disciplined, but Liverpool have really been exposed for, like, they need someone who can pick the lock a bit here, and not it's always on Salah's shoulders. I think maybe we're seeing a reason why that we might look at an Arsenal who split their goals more evenly.
Yeah, but I just think for Man United, again, like I said before, the trauma of 7-0, like a historic stain on the club the last time they're here, to come away with a clean sheet would be pretty credible.
Yeah, it would, but more than that, I think, like, I was convinced, and I still am to an extent, that these players are just not playing for the manager. But today, on today's evidence, it looks like they are trying for their manager.
Yeah, weird, right? Because this is the thing though. Some games they can do this, and like against Bayern, they try to do this really. Like Bayern just couldn't be fucked.
Bayern didn't get out of second gear.
But Bayern were just in like snooze. Do you know what I mean? They were coasting against them. But they can't like sit back and park the bus. But again, it's like, how much credit do I want to give a Manchester United side that's worth £1 billion spent on the talent involved, and we're clapping them for parking the bus at Anfield?
But I don't think you should measure this game of whether they're playing for the manager. This is Liverpool away. This is the biggest game of their season. I don't care who the manager is. They should be playing for pride. For pride.
I know what you mean. I think in terms of playing for the manager, the real stark thing for me, and the concern if I was a United fan, I'd be going, right, who's playing for the manager? Who's on the pitch right now? Anthony, Højlund, these kind of guys. If I was a Man United fan, the players I'd want on the pitch are Sancho, are Rashford. That's your talent, and they're not on the pitch because they don't track back to their minus manager.
Crosser.
Yeah.
More Salah's on the edge.
If I'm not playing for the
manager,
here
we go.
He's got to hit that first.
Got to hit it.
Liverpool probing though. They're probing.
Joe Gomez with the winner, is it?
When you see defenders on the edge of the box taking shots like that, it drives me fucking crazy. It's so stupid. It just lacks